Go.
Can we
And
clap?
welcome back. Zach was talking. Welcome back to Generations Behind, episode 16. I'm one of your hosts, Craig, of Craig's Game Room. To the side of me, the beautiful Mr. Zach Daily Beating. Zach, how are you today?
I'm doing well. I just got back from a new grocery store and it was very close to me and it was very convenient and it was very empty, which is nice for a Sunday.
What grocery store
Um,
was it?
I think it's called a Market Street.
That is
Um,
the most generic name for a store I think possible. I
hey,
love it.
I don't care. It was like right around the corner. It was empty and they had good stuff, so I can't
But
complain.
you live near an Aldi's, correct?
Are you trying to set me up for a joke here? Like a
No,
Aldi?
I always hear from people that live near an Aldi's that Aldi's is like the Lord and Savior of grocery stores. And I've
No,
never
I'm
had that
I'm
because
in
of the side of
Texas and
country
the
I live
Lord
on.
Lord and Savior of grocery stores is HEB. I don't have one of those near me, so
No HEB.
no HEB.
All I got is fucking Albertsons
No head.
here. Below us,
Albertsons. What is
the
that?
luscious slut, Tyler Haight. Mr. Tyler Haight, how are you today?
Oh, the luscious slut one here, doing pretty good. Just got back from the movies, went and seen Dragon Ball Daima. That was fun.
Oh, so was that
Uh,
like just the first couple of episodes, or is there an actual different movie?
Yeah, they played the first 3 episodes of the dub.
You know
So
what?
that
I
was
really
pretty
like
cool.
that that's a trend now that they're doing with like a lot of newer anime. I think that's fun. Like they did that they've done that a couple times now with Demon Slayer last couple of seasons, and then recently they did it with Dandadan, which is phenomenal by the way. If you guys haven't watched that, definitely recommend Dandadan.
Now Demon Slayer, the whole last season's gonna be 3 movies.
Yeah, that's true. That's
So,
because half of Demon Slayer is one fucking arc and it's ridiculous. So
yeah.
that is my beef with Demon Slayer. Is I read it back in the day, and the final fight is literally more than like 50% of the manga. It's insane. So, and some people like that, but to me, I was like get on with it already. Is what it felt like. So,
But one thing I gotta say real quick. So yesterday, like little story time. So yesterday, went to Jonathan's house. It was his birthday. Happy birthday, Jonathan.
happy
All that
birthday,
type stuff.
Jonathan, our boy.
But so I was at his house, and his parents got their Christmas tree up already. So they got a whole bunch of like video game inspired ornaments and stuff. So I was looking all over the
That's
tree,
fun.
looking at the ornaments. You will never believe the one ornament I seen. It is from Jason's childhood. Look at that right there.
Is it gonna come up?
Come on,
Is that
The
ET?
mushroom?
It's ET.
Oh
there
God!
we
Oh God!
go.
Feel of your eyes.
That's beautiful. I just wanted to bless y'all with that.
That's so funny. Disgusting.
One of the best movies
Broke
ever
my mouth
made.
over
And fun fact, when we were at the game convention that we were all just at, I seen a ET TV tray, and I told Zach to look at it, and he ran away really fast. But and he was like, "Get that away from me! Get that away!" From me.
It follows us everywhere. I saw like a life-size ET plush there. It was disgusting.
That doesn't need to
There's a
exist.
bunch of
Oh,
ET stuff. It was great.
I was ready to leave the convention. Yes, this is the first time we're all speaking like face to face since the con, since we all hung out and met each other in person somewhat for the first time. Very exciting. We all had a great time. We all got a lot of video games. Spent way too much money. I think more than we all expected to. But that's the kind of thing
Oh,
that
I
happens
did
when you go to
for sure.
conventions. Yeah,
Tyler
Tyler.
spent more
Tyler
money
went
in the first 15 seconds than all of us combined.
pretty much. But yeah,
Oh
we'll
my
have
God.
some convention fine stories to share with you guys, which would be fun. Today, though, we're talking about our top 5 Super Nintendo games. We're going to do our usual thing where we list them out, we rank them, we give them points, so we could make a definitive list of the best Super Nintendo games of all time. It's going to be very fun. This show, I kept my promise, now on podcast services. So if you are a fan of Apple Podcast or Spotify, it is on those now. Thought about the Google Play Store, but I've never met anyone in my life who listens to podcasts through the Google Play Store. So if any of you are out there, I
Podcast
can
from the Google Play Store.
exactly. So if somebody wants me to make that change, I definitely can. But I can't imagine anybody uses anything but Apple Podcasts or YouTube or Spotify. I feel like those are the 3 that matter. It's like that one guy that actually uses Linux. It's like, no, you don't. So.
No, you don't.
So I'm glad to finally have that out there for the people that have been asking for it. Hope that you are all happy about that. We got a couple of write-ins. Dan Evil Robot wrote in, said, "Keep it up with the episodes, you guys." Just some kind words. So thank you, Mr. Dan. We always appreciate your support.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you,
Patrick
Dan.
wrote in. He said, "Thank you for finally going on Apple Podcasts. Makes it great to listen to when in the car. As far as questions, anyone else get the PS5 Pro? Only got to play Visions of Mana so far, but very impressed with the smoothness even the game gets from playing it on the console. Don't worry, Tyler, I will be playing Rebirth on it soon.
Yeah, let me know how it is, man.
So I was gonna say, Tyler, of the three of us, I feel like you'd be the one to maybe get a Pro. Do you have any interest in it or no?
So originally I had no interest, and then they showed one that was gray, and piqued my interest, and I was like, I want one. And then that stupid lottery system put me in like more than an hour wait. I was like dead last. By the time I got in, I couldn't get an edge. I couldn't get nothing. It was like you got a standard controller or nothing.
Can't believe PlayStation made you stop edging.
So I was like, you know what? Guess I'm not getting it. So I didn't get it. I mean, maybe down the road I'll get one, but as of right now, I'm fine.
Zach, any interest in the PS5 Pro?
I rocked a launch day PS4 until the wheels fell off and the PS5 came out. I didn't get a PS4 Pro, and I think that was an actual substantial upgrade.
It definitely was.
People say the PS5 Pro is like, I feel like I'm losing. I can't see things that well. Like I'm not seeing the 4K to 1080 difference. Just throw it on performance mode. It works for me. I don't need a PS5 Pro.
Yeah, I feel like we've reached a threshold where it's not super necessary. Like, to me, as long as it runs fine, and most games have an option to run pretty dang good at this point. Like, they have a fidelity or a quality or whatever mode, and it's like, as long as I can get good performance, I'm fine.
We're definitely getting diminishing returns on, like, visuals.
Visuals, yeah. And, yeah, I definitely care more about frame rate, so... I definitely think the price tag's a little too high for what you get out of it. I definitely don't really have any interest, but I will say, I do have a lot of interest in that gray PS1 style DualSense. That thing is gorgeous.
Ooh, I wanted the Edge. I wanted it. The Portal's cool too, and it's all kind of cool.
The Portal, the Portal looked really cool, but I can't justify a Portal because I could just stream it to my Steam Deck, and I'm like, then I'm really wasting money. So, which I tried for the first time the other day, by the way. I played through a couple hours of Metaphor that way, and it was pretty decent. So,
yeah, I've been playing my Portal a lot more lately. It's really good for a game like Persona, where you don't really need if it is a little bit of latency, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. There's not really any action elements. It's perfect. Yeah, turn-based games are the dream for those kind of things. Especially Persona, it's like, you're going to be grinding in the dungeon for a couple of hours. It's like, just whip it out while you're watching a movie or something else. Kind of a good multitask tool that way.
Yep.
So yeah, probably no PS5 Pros for us. But we're glad that you were enjoying yours, Patrick. Visions of Mana, I'm kind of surprised that that's a game that would need any kind of performance improvement, because it seems like not too technically intensive a game. But then again, Metaphor looks like a PS3 game, and sometimes it dips from 60. So anything is possible. John wrote in. He said, "Hey, John here. I asked for a Fallout New Vegas episode and got declined. So what about Fallout 3 episode? Is it old enough for you guys?" All right, so let's see. When did Fallout 3 come out?
It's marginally older, right? I feel like it's not even that much older.
Okay, so take your guess. When did Fallout 3 come out?
2007.
2009.
That's so funny. It's 2008. So,
okay.
Right in the middle of you guys. And then Fallout New Vegas is 2010. So
yeah,
Fallout 3 Fallout 3's getting there, but I think it's still a little bit newer than we'd like.
Fallout 3 is the one Fallout I've actually played all the way through. I really enjoyed Fallout 3.
I know. I've played a decent amount, but I've never
years
finished
makes
it.
it retro.
Yeah.
It's 15 years. I always hear the thing where it says 15 years makes it retro.
And I think that's valid, because the argument a lot of people make is like the Super Nintendo was 15 years old and the Wii came out, and that was considered retro then. And I'm like, I feel like that's a fair bar. It's just that, the progression of games has slowed down so much in the last decade to where it's like
makes it seem
there's some
like
PS3 games that are like, comparable, like late PS3 games. Like you think of The Last of Us, and it's like that's still pretty comparable for like today.
It's only got ported 5 times.
It's true.
And like Persona 5 was a PS3 game. Grand Theft Auto 5 was a PS3 game.
Yeah, so it's like if you have a year cutoff, I feel like it makes more sense than if you have a console generation cutoff. Because it's like, if you're calling Persona 5 retro, that's the problem. But it's on a console that's retro, kind of, right? It's like a weird kind of gray area.
I'm going to do some science here in a couple weeks when I go home. I'm just going to ask my nephew if he's ever heard of something, and if he has never heard of it, that's retro.
That's fair. That's a good bar.
He's about to turn 9, so I feel like if he like has never heard of it, retro.
Yeah, you gotta just take a little video. Have you heard of Fallout 3? No. It's retro.
I don't know. I wonder if Fallout specifically would be something more in the minds of the general public now because of the TV show too, because it was so successful and well deserved. It was a great freaking show. I saw that Macaulay Culkin is going to be in season 2, so let's go. Where my Macaulay Culkin fans at?
I gotta finish season 1. I watched the first two episodes, something like that. I mean, it was good. It's not that I just fell out. Well, no, not necessarily, but yeah, I just gotta get back to it.
Yes, I definitely would recommend it. It's a good time. Fellas, today marked the official start of winter for me because I had the first peppermint mocha of the season. I'm feeling great.
My hometown was 90 degrees today. So
was it really? That's disgusting.
90?
Yes. Oh. Yes. I was going to complain to my family. I looked at my phone. It was 80 where I'm at. And I checked where it was where they're at, just a few hours south. It was 90 degrees.
Texas is fucking cooked, dude. If it's still that hot, almost midway through November, that is absolutely disgusting.
It's currently 52 right here.
Let's see. What's this sweet, sweet Nevada weather looking like right now? Because it was beautiful outside. I was just happy to have peppermint mocha, the greatest drink. 70 degrees, so it's actually not that cold. But I'm a Christmas boy, and that's the most Christmassy drink out there. It's the only time I'll really go to Starbucks is when the peppermint mocha is back. Other than that, I'm kind of anti-Starbucks because their coffee is always fucking burnt. But it's just not a good time. But I know I got Tyler on the peppermint mocha train a few years ago, so...
Yeah, it was good. I was like, I'm going to try one. Now that I know it's out, I might have to go tomorrow.
I know, because I went a couple days ago, and I went to get a peppermint mocha, and they said that they weren't starting it till the next day, so I was sad. But I was already in line. There was like 3 people behind me, so I couldn't back up. So I got a regular hot mocha, and they handed it to me, and they didn't steam it. So it was a hot drink that wasn't heated. So it was just like a cold cup, and I was like, that's weird. Maybe it was sitting there for a minute. And I take a sip, and it's just disgusting because it's iced. Like, not cold. It was cold, but it wasn't iced. It was absolutely disgusting. So I went inside, and I handed it to the guy, and I was like, hey, can I get another drink? And he's like, sure, what's wrong with that? I was like, my mocha is not hot. And he handed it. He was like, oh my God. He was disgusted for me. So, but luckily,
I only drink cold drinks. I can't drink hot drinks. I'm a baby.
Nah, that's fair. I'm usually the same way, especially like coffee. I'm an iced coffee guy, but something about that warm peppermint mocha just brings.
So Zach's not a fan of hot chocolate?
No hot chocolate?
No, I'll straight up wait till it gets cold. I cannot drink hot drinks.
But then it's just chocolate milk.
My poor little lips can't stand it.
Oh, your little baby lips.
I know it. I cannot do hot drinks.
That's so funny. Huh, you learn something new about your friends every day.
Yeah.
All right, enough bullshit, boys. Let's get to the real topic, which is video games.
The real deal.
I've only been playing one thing, so I think I'm gonna go first since I usually go last. Get it out of the way. I finished Metaphor Refantasio yesterday. Very, very, very great game. I do not think it's a 10 like a lot of outlets gave it. Like, if I were to give it a score, I'd give it a 9. So it is really great, but I don't think it was like the perfect JRPG like a lot of people have been saying. I definitely think it's Atlus's best combat system that they've come up with so far. I really, really enjoyed it. The story was very well done. I thought that the bonds, or like for Persona fans out there, the social links were a little bit some of them I thought were on the weaker side, unfortunately. And that's one of the things that brought the game down a little bit for me, because these interactions with these characters, these one-on-ones, are a big component of what makes these style of Atlus games good. So the fact that a lot of those stories felt a little flat for me kind of brings the game down for me a little bit. It wasn't as long as I thought it would be. A lot of people were saying it was like 60 to 80 hours. I think I beat it around like 55, 56. So it's still pretty long, but not as long as I thought. I did basically everything possible in the game except for the super boss, which is only on New Game Plus. So I'm going to have to play it again if I want to get the Platinum Trophy. But overall, very good time. If you're a JRPG fan, I would definitely recommend it to everybody. The only reason I think I don't give it like a little bit more praise is because it's like, I still think that Persona 3 and 4 I think would be above this if I were to like rank the Atlus games I've played.
You're saying 5's below it?
I have such a love-hate relationship with 5 because I've played too much of it. So it's like I burnt myself out like on the just like the presence and the existence of the Phantom Thieves. It's like when I see those characters, I'm just like, ugh. I just feel like I've gotten too much of them in the last couple of years. I really need to like take a long break from like even acknowledging Persona 5's existence to go back and have a bit more fresh eyes, because I think I just burnt myself out on it. But I do love Persona 5 still. But I don't know. Like if I were to do like a game of the year ranking right now from like games I've played this year, this would probably be like number 3. So still fantastic, still high up there. But Persona 3 Reload is still my game of the year. And then I do think that I would say Final Fantasy VII Rebirth would be above Metaphor as well. But, you know, great fucking year for JRPGs, that all three of my top 3 games. And it's like I still haven't played Unicorn Overlord, which I really want to play. And there's just so many other things I need to get to. So there's just so many good games. It's stressful how many good games there are this year. But yeah, I definitely recommend this to anybody that's a JRPG fan. The story is very, very good and interesting, very unique. It really is a pretty one-of-a-kind game overall. Like, it's, it's kind of, your general fantasy, but it's different enough. And then it's like, it plays a lot like a Persona game, but it's different enough. So it really has, like, its own feel and its own vibe. And if you're a fan of this genre, I definitely would say that it's a must-play for sure. So I don't know when you guys are going to get around to it, because I know you guys have crazy backlogs as well. But
oh, man.
It's around the corner.
Crazy.
I finish Persona 3, then I'll put in Metaphor.
Mm-hmm. Is that your order of operations, you think?
Yep, I'm putting some more attention to Persona, and then it'll come out, Metaphor will go in, and then I'm going to mainline that.
Yes, and Tyler, I know you have Ys 10 or 11 that came out, right? So that probably takes priority over Metaphor, I'm assuming, for you.
Most likely, yes.
Since you're a fucking dork
Still
who
gotta
plays the Ys
buy
games.
Metaphor. Yo, listen here, son. Play them. You'll love them.
I really want to. I want to play more of them. I played Origin many years ago now, and I really enjoyed it. But I don't even think I beat it, because I think there's technically like 3 stories that you have to play through to get like the true ending or whatever, and I only did one of the routes. So
A lot of the original ones are on Steam. They're not that expensive.
And I got that Steam Deck, so I don't really have an excuse except for the 10,000 other games I want to play. So all right. Zach, why don't you go next? What have you been playing?
Briefly mentioned Persona. I've progressed basically another month. So I'm getting close to October now. So really enjoying Persona 3. I didn't get to play it for like a month because I was dealing with a move. Now it's all plugged in, and it's what I'm starting to put like my main time into. Other than this
we listened
weekend,
to the intro like 10 times at Zach's house, probably more than that.
yeah,
That's true. We
I heard
literally
that
just Zach was like, "I want to listen to this. Can you turn it on?" And we put it on. We just had the intro play over and over again because it never gets
It's
old. It's
good.
such a good song.
It's a good intro.
All of the music in Persona 3 is absolutely banging. So
Yeah, I'm enjoying that. I'm glad to get that ball rolling again. But this weekend, what I've mainly been playing is this Mario and Luigi Brothership.
wahoo!
It's I'm a fan of the Mario and Luigi games. Superstar Saga is like the gold standard though for me. I don't think they've quite met that game since. But Brothership is fun. Made a video I put out today. It's got a little bit of baby's first RPG problems. A lot of hand holding, a lot of real simple concepts and real simple puzzles, and just some goofy stuff in that era, that region. The combat is still fun. It's still got that Mario and Luigi combat that I like, the time-based attacks, and then the real bread and butter of the time-based dodging and deflecting and counterattacks is what really puts the Mario and Luigi games over the edge for me for like something like Paper Mario. So I'm about 10 hours into it. I think I finally got past the real slog of a start where you're basically just getting a boring story dump and then beating really easy enemies and going through really simple areas. I'm kind of getting out of that, and I'm starting to get some more mechanics in the battle system to spice it up. So I'm having fun with it. Cool. Probably gonna play it a lot this week, just on the Switch because it's easier to play Switch on the couch. Just pick it up and play for 30 minutes or so. So
would you say
keep working through that?
Because you said you played about 10 hours already. I'm trying to think. I don't remember these games ever being super long. So do you think you're probably over halfway through it at this point already?
No. So like last time I played Superstar Saga, I think I beat that game in like 12 hours. But that's a game I've played like 5 times, so I just blitzed through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this one, I've read some reviews. Apparently, it's like 35 to 40 hours long.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like such a slog just getting going. Like I said, I played for 10 hours, and I feel like I've just kind of got they kind of just let the reins loose now. They are letting me like actually do things at my own pace now. I'm kind of there's not as many tutorials as they were in the first bit, and I kind of know where the story's going, and I can actually start not getting like exposition dumps every 5 minutes and meeting new characters and stuff. So, but yeah, apparently it's like a 35, 40 hour game. So we'll see how long it ends up being for me. But
I feel like that's too long for a
yes,
Mario and Luigi RPG.
yes, I think that was one of the bigger complaints with Dream Team. I never beat Dream Team. I played it, but that game is also like 30 hours, and that's like the main complaint is it's too much of a
Just
slog.
too long.
It's just too long.
Yeah,
But
not every. Sometimes it's really nice when you play an RPG and it's like 15 hours.
yep, yep. So yeah, that's the main thing I've been playing. I played a little bit more Echoes of Wisdom. I I haven't got to another dungeon in that game. I'm just kind of wandering. It kind of has like a Breath of the Wild feel where it just kind of lets you do what you want.
I
You
like
don't have
that.
to. So if you've seen the trailers, you can like you just summon things and stack things. I'm just summoning the beds and making staircases for myself and just jumping over everything,
Have fun.
trying to see what it can let me do, what can I can explore, and just really avoiding all the actual story stuff until I have to do it. So that game's fun. I'll keep
Cool.
playing that when I'm done with Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, this one I definitely want to try to get to by the end of the year.
Good time.
Tyler,
Very nice.
our luscious boy.
So, I have not been playing too much. I mean, well, I guess you could say too much Call of Duty. But, because, Black Ops 6 came out, so I've been playing that a lot. I like the Treyarch games more than the other, like Infinity Ward and stuff, so I've been having fun with that. Playing with my friends, doing zombies, all that, did the Easter eggs. But, yeah, that's kind of been killing my time until tonight, that is, because I'm getting back to Persona 3.
Let's-
Because I'm on a time restraint, so I gotta start
Mhm.
going with the luscious slut hours now.
We
And
got about a
gotta
month
get her
before we
done.
do our Persona 3 episode.
Gotta get it done. I gotta be like Craig and just go madman and beat it in a week.
Hey, if I was gonna say if I could beat it in a week, you could beat it in a month. You'll be okay.
So do that, and then on the side, a little bit of Pokemon Blue here and there. Now that Zach and I got all our trades done,
Mhm.
that was excruciating. But
That was
But you
fun
got
though.
it done.
Yeah.
The save states really saved us, honestly.
yeah, we wanted to go to bed, and then we're like, we forgot an Eevee.
Oh, I was so mad.
Yeah, they stayed up late when we were in Texas, making sure they could complete the Pokedex as much as possible with one another.
They were
The
having
absolute
issues
mad
with
lads.
tables. They were doing all. Oh man, almost didn't happen, but it happened.
If it wasn't for the analog pocket save states, it would have taken us like 6 more hours.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
would've
we'd have
sucked.
to bust out more copies, start playing through that.
Yeah.
I know. I almost
But,
wish
yeah.
that I would have started a copy so that I could have helped you guys out. But it would have been more fun if I had yellow. Then we had all 3 versions. I don't have a copy of yellow, unfortunately. So I'm a basic
Gotta get
bitch.
one.
What could I say?
You'll
Pokemon games are too expensive. I don't know if I'll ever buy a Pokemon
tell
game
me.
anymore. Unless, especially if it's not complete in box, just because one, I don't collect that way, and also just Pokemon games are so overpriced for what they are. So it does not feel like there's any way
totally
to
didn't buy no
justify the price
Pokemon
of them.
games lately. Totally
Hmm?
didn't. Nothing. Oh, I thought I totally didn't buy any Pokemon games recently.
No, none.
So we get to the next segment.
Yeah, pickups. Woo! So Tyler, speaking of which, why don't you go first?
All right, boys, get a snack.
I know. I hope you packed a lunch.
So let's see. So first, I'm gonna show off, as Craig mentioned. I got East 10. Got the
Ooh.
collector's edition.
Ooh,
Has
that
an
looks
art
neat.
book, soundtrack. Also came with like a bag,
Nice, nice.
so that was pretty cool.
I love when
got
collector's
that.
editions come with one random thing too big to fit in the box. They just give it to you separate. I always think
Yeah,
that's
they're just
funny.
like, take
Because
it.
I'm like that. I'm like, it's not really part of the collector's edition then.
So where do I start? Okay, came to Texas. A lot of the stuff came from Texas, but we were all together. We went to the store called Found It by Zach, and that store was amazing. It had so much cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I seen a complete Pokemon Silver.
Woo.
for $300, but it's
Ah,
clean. Got all the inserts, so I was like, I still need it. So now I'm down to 2 left: Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Blue.
there you go.
One day that'll happen. Moving along at the convention, found this is pretty neat. Pokemon Mini. If you don't know about a Pokemon Mini, they got a Chikorita, a Wooper, and a Smoochum version. And then
What a
only
combo.
only four
The three
games came out.
genders.
Only 4 games came out in North America, so technically I'm like halfway to a set because this is the only way to get Pokemon Party Mini, and then I got Pinball Mini, and then there's like a puzzle one and some other one. Oh, Zanny cards. It's like a card game. Meowth.
That's funny. And then you'll have a full set.
A full set.
Hell yeah.
Picked up a whole bunch of N-Gage stuff.
Oh yeah.
Got a whole nice stack. Spent a good amount of money on that. That was fun.
A good amount of money.
It's a
Yeah,
mortgage
4 of those.
payment in your hands right there.
It really is.
4 of those are from the con. 3 of them are from Texas game stores. I'm gonna say this Texas pickup for last. Went to also in Texas. As I drop everything, Shrek the Third Greatest Hits. If you don't know, the Greatest Hits kind of one of the hardest ones to find.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of pushed
The same thing.
Christian out of the way to get that. Sorry, Christian, love you.
Said fuck you. This is mine.
He was talking to me about the Valkyria game on the Xbox, and I was like, oh yeah, it's pretty cool because of the pin. You should get that. And I was like, oh, and I've seen it. And then he didn't get the Valkyria game. Found a box and manual for Cubics. Pretty uncommon Game Boy Advance game. Picked that up. Got it for $10. The dude, I don't think he knew what it was, but what else? Went to a little show yesterday actually, because I go everywhere in New Jersey. Just picked up a couple things. Got a Ben 10 triple pack on DS.
that's
a little
fun.
hard to find. Picked that up. And then I got this game that I never heard of. Guess it wasn't published here, or well, it was published here, but not like physically released. Oninaki.
Oh, that's one of the. Is that Tokyo RPG Factory?
maybe.
I was gonna
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
Lost Sphere and I Am Setsuna.
is. Interesting.
Mhm.
Also from that place, I got Lost in Shadow. on the
Oh,
Wii.
cool.
I'm so used to my camera being over here, and I got to keep doing that.
Yeah, Lost in Shadow's a bit of an uncommon one.
Yeah, my buddy, it was at his booth, and then he was like, "Oh, this is one you should probably pick up because it's neat." And I was like, "Eh, why not? Screw it." Also did a little game trip with Jonathan the one day. Picked up the Ninja Savers Return to the Warriors on the PS4. That looked interesting.
Oh,
Picked that up. Got a squirrel with a gun
hell yeah.
because it just looks crazy. And
You have to play it
I
and
wanted
let
to
me
play
know
it.
because I was so curious about that.
Oh, I will. I've been following it since like before it even came out on
So
Steam because
funny.
I was like, I want to play this game. And then when they
Scroll
said
it up.
physical's coming out, I was like, I'm buying it. And then the game stores that I went to they're opening like a giant mega store, so they had like a warehouse sale, and they were just selling a whole bunch of stuff from the dude's personal collection and stuff. There's a bunch of cool stuff, but I didn't feel like spending all the money, so I picked up all gamers need to start taking showers, so I figured I need to get some Sonic shampoo. Got that sealed.
Hell yeah.
Has like a Sonic Adventure background. Pretty
Yeah, I see
interesting.
that. Nice.
That's funny.
I mean, all the water's
it sealed.
evaporated, so I can't
can't
play in
use
the
it.
shower, but that's fine.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even bother showering if you can't use it. Just don't shower. It's fine.
Just keep it sealed.
Be great.
What, would it still be even good? Like, does shampoo expire?
Probably. I feel like it must. Well, that's not true.
It,
like
it
soap
feels like
doesn't expire,
very
right?
liquidy now.
I'm not a soap expert. Couldn't tell you.
God, why do we have you on the show?
Yeah. Let us know down below. Does soap expire? Shampoo.
You guys
that
ever
is.
see those weird? It was popular for a while on like Etsy and stuff. Was people would make like Super Nintendo and N64 cartridges, like but they were soap, so they
Yeah.
looked like a cartridge, but it was soap.
I need to start buying those.
And then I mentioned it before on one of the episodes. I don't remember which episode. Probably the Ape Escape one. How there's other games on PSP I want to get, and I found the kart racing one.
Oh, nice.
So that was pretty cool. Tried it on Christian's PSP. It's not that great. Now for the big boy pickup.
The big boy.
So when I was in Texas and Christian and I were going to all these different game stores, we go to this one game store. Look, really ran down. Looked like it wasn't going to have anything. Sun Faded Games, Party Favors. Yes, you heard me right, Party Favors. And a whole bunch of other nonsense. Then right when we were about to leave, we seen 2 games. We were like, oh, let's get those 2. And then they brought us a bunch over, and they were just like, oh, we got just boxes of manuals. And then they said $10 each. So we said, we'll take them all. So we split it up evenly. I got half. He got half. I got Tecmo NBA basketball. I got Pac-Man. Mind you, these are like really clean.
Yeah, those are nice.
Like it's kind of crazy. Super C. Double Dragon. Got some Dick Tracy. I got this beautiful copy of Ninja Gaiden.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Perfect.
All together. It looks great.
Jump scare.
Gonna send that to water. We're gonna get that
I
graded.
keep telling him, I'm like, you gotta throw in a cart and manual, like smash the cart with a hammer, rip the manual in half, but not enough for it to actually be ripped apart, and send it in and try to get like a 1. That'd be awesome.
And then the big pickup, this one is complete, so it was $40. But that is a very clean Super Mario Bros. 3. The left Bros, mind you, because the Bros is on the left. And man, this thing is just beautiful. Like, and for $40,
That's a hell of a deal.
So yeah, and then we got a bunch of other stuff, like probably like, yeah, same amount that Christian got. But he put up a video on his pickup, so I'll let you guys go look at that. Shout out to Bird Dog Gaming. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I hope that's all I got. I've been spending way too much money. And I got Christmas around the corner, so I gotta start spending money on other people. Yeah.
Alright, Zach, why don't you go next? What you got?
Okay, let me grab the stack real quick. Alright, so I already showed you Brothership. Got some neat little pins from Best Buy. So I got some little
those are
Mario Luigi pins.
I thought those were GameStop pre-order.
Maybe GameStop had something similar. I went to a Best Buy. I don't know.
It might have.
A buddy of mine in like middle school borrowed my Fire Emblem Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, and then a couple years ago he sent me my Path of Radiance back in the mail on a bubble mailer, which was kind of funny, but it actually turned out okay. He lost my Radiant Dawn, so to make up for it, he went to Japan for vacation. He bought me some Famicom and NSO controllers, which neat.
It was really cool.
I don't know if I ever actually used these, but I'm glad I have them, I guess. Got a copy of Dark Souls Remastered from the con. Nothing special about this. I have it on the Switch. Figured I'd get a PS4 version.
Oh, real quick.
Yep.
Can you let me know where you're putting that on the shelf?
Okay, so I've been getting a lot of heat from people that I thought were my friends.
From real collectors.
So I was told that I have this new shelf behind me now. I have my games. I'm really proud of it and happy to have all my games in one spot. And all my friends have been kicking me while I'm down. I was told to put them alphabetically. And so I'm sticking to my rule set. They're going alphabetically. So Dark Souls Remastered, Dark Souls, then the letter R, Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3. 2 and 3 come before R, so the order is Dark Souls 2, 3, Dark Souls Remastered.
Yeah, you're an insane person.
Similarly for Madden 2004, Madden 07, the 0 comes before a 2, so it's Madden 07, then Madden 2004.
Insane.
And then Sonic Adventure 2 before Sonic Adventure DX.
Mind you, the night before all this went down, he sent a message to Christian and I and said, so where would I put these games? And we told him, we're like, well, there's like exceptions, you know.
Oh, 100%.
You can keep them chronologically. Put Sonic Adventure 1 before Sonic Adventure 2. Put 4 before 2000. Yeah, 2004 before 2007. And then, so we came to his house. 07, whatever. So then we come to his house, and then, nope, he still put them on the shelf that way. So, you know, I just went, whoop, whoop. Put those around. Then a week later, probably a couple days ago, he messaged us all. Whichever one of you heathens thought it was funny to change his.
That was a great text to get because we were all like, I wonder when he's gonna notice.
Yeah.
It took you a while.
It did take me like probably a solid week, but I found him, and it's all is right in the world.
All is wrong.
I
damn
go
it.
over again and I'm changing
No,
it again.
100% when you alphabetize your games, there definitely should be an exception. You know, like if you have the Prince of Persia trilogy on GameCube or Xbox or PS2, you put them in order of when they came out. You don't put them in order of the titles. Or like the Madden games.
Yeah,
You should
exactly.
put them in order when they came out. You
No,
got
I think I've got it right, but
No, I think you got it wrong, but it's okay.
That's like when you
You
have
can
the
only...
Tomb Raider games on the modern consoles. There's Tomb Raider, there's Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and Rise of the Tomb Raider. You're not going to put them all apart from one another. That's weird. You put them all next to each other, just in the order that they go. So you have your Tomb Raider games together.
I'm now realizing that I have the Sly collection
The
with
Sly.
the T's instead of the S's, so I gotta fix that.
Yeah, that's
Um,
also disgusting. You should definitely fix that right now.
that,
Get up
that,
and
that's a
get up and
mistake.
do a good thing. Go and fix it
Yeah,
right
go
now.
change that. Do a good deed of the day.
I know.
And change your Sonic and Madden back, too.
You'll get some
Thanks.
slight forgiveness for this.
For audio listeners, he is right now at his shelf, moving it over. He just pulled it out.
This we're
Putting
shaming,
it over, hopefully
shaming
in the
this
right
man
spot.
live on the show
Put it
for his disgusting acts.
I'm also Halo 4 before Halo 3. I'm gonna have to take a good look at this when I get back. Something's
I think
wrong.
You put
maybe you're just
Halo
dyslexic.
What's going on? Oh.
Turns out
okay.
all this time he's really just illiterate.
Yeah, I'm just guessing. I do have two more
Oh,
pickups
man.
Mhm.
though. I got the Super Mario All Stars 25th anniversary thing on the Wii just because I don't have it and I think it looks cool.
That was a
Um,
very expensive little bundle for a while. It's really gone down, and it's so nice.
Yeah, I got it for like $20 or $30, $29, something like that. But
It's
it's
nice.
neat. I like it. I'll
Big
never
fan.
play these games through the Wii, but whatever.
Why not? It's the
'Cause
best
it's-
place to play them.
It's so
No.
funny because when you boot up that disc, it's literally just the Super Nintendo cartridge. Just ported on a Wii
Yeah.
disc. It's so funny.
But played with a sideways Wii remote like a freak.
That is
Um,
pretty. That is pretty gross.
And then the last thing I got a copy of Fire Emblem 4,
Ooh.
Genealogy of the Holy War,
nice.
the Famicom. Just another, it's kind of a neat game to have. It didn't get released in the US, but I enjoy it, so I figured I would buy it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
All
those are my
right.
pickups.
Me next. All right, so I'm just gonna show a couple of the things I got while I was in Texas. The highlights. I had 2 gold games. I got them right away, which was nice. Without struggling too much, which was good. So I got CIB First Print Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest, one of the best Super Nintendo games. Next up, we got, this was the game I was looking for, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I've gushed about my love for JoJo's on the show many times. My favorite anime, my favorite manga. So cool to own the first piece of JoJo's media we ever got in the West. Super weird that it was a Dreamcast and PS1 fighting game before we got any of the manga, anything. I always find that fascinating. And
Mind you,
then-
that Dreamcast game was like his #1 and he bought it 10 seconds into the show.
Yes. So I was like, this is what I'm at the con for. If anyone sees it, let me know. We walk into the con. The second booth, Tyler walks by. He's like, hey, Craig, come here. And it was there. And only copy we all saw at the con the entire day. So I'm glad that I bought it right away. It was a little deflating because I was like, all right, now I'm just kind of walking around. I don't have anything I'm really looking for. But it was still exciting to get out of the way. Haven't actually booted it up yet. I need to try to do that soon. I want to try to rearrange my game room a bit if I can, because I really want to have a CRT set up in there, because I don't have a CRT set up. And especially if I'm going to be playing a retro fighting game, I want to be able to play it without any latency, because that'll, obviously, you'll be able to feel that. Other 2 games I got recently. So the reason I have just a mustache right now and just a little bit of stubble was I shaved off my beard so I could be Bob Belcher from Bob's Burgers for Halloween. So I was Bob, my wife was Linda. There's a costume contest at work. I won funniest costume because I was Bob. And then I got a gift card for Amazon, and I decided to buy Unicorn Overlord with that. So this is possibly the next modern game I want to play next, now that Metaphor is done, because, excuse me, there's a good amount of games I still want to beat that came out this year I want to try to beat before the end of the year. And this is one of the ones I've been interested pretty much since day one, and I just hadn't gotten around to it yet. But I like Vanillaware. I really like 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim. I enjoyed what I played of Muramasa. I enjoyed what I played of Odin Sphere. I haven't beaten either of those games, but I really like the Vanillaware, just kind of like style of games. I've always wanted to play Dragon's Crown as well, but this will probably be the next modern game. And I got they finally reprinted the Capcom Fighting Collection, which is very exciting. So I absolutely adore, as I've gushed on this show in the past when I played it for the first time, the Vampire Savior games. I love, love, love them. Vampire Savior 1, I think, is like one of the best fighting games I've ever played. So to be able to have a physical copy of it in some way, shape, or form is really cool. I still want to get the PS1 version eventually, but for now, this will suffice. And haven't said it on the show yet, but our next episode is going to be just a general fighting game topic discussion. So, good time for me to whip this bad boy into the PlayStation, play some more Vampire Savior, so I can talk about it even more next time. The trophy list for this game is insane, by the way, because I thought it'd be a fun one to go for. But one of the trophies you need is to beat every arcade mode of all, 10 games with every character. And I'm like, that's heinous, so
what?
no thank you. Part of me is like, how cool would it be to do that? But I'm like, I'm not fucking doing that. That is nuts.
That's a lot of grinding.
That's like one of the most fuck you trophies I think I've ever heard of in a game. When I saw that, I was like, there's no way, dude. I was like, I'm not doing that.
I think whenever I get a fighting game and like one of the trophies is like one of those combat like trials that you got to do, and like or the combo, and like the combo's like just this long. I'm like, yep, that's
like every
where I'm not getting it.
Possible. The
like the older Mortal
hardest
Kombat
trophy for me to get in any game ever was, if you guys are familiar with the anime Kill la Kill, there was a fighting game, Kill la Kill If. And it's funny because I think it only has like a 1.2 or 1.3% like platinum rate. It is very low, and it is so hard to, because one of them is just get all the S ranks in every like single player mission. And I shit you not, there's 2 story missions that I think I did for at least like probably like 4 or 5 hours each one individually. I just could not get it no matter how hard I tried. And when I finally got the X ranks on both of them, it felt like it was totally random. I was like, I feel like I did better last time. It was so it was just so hard. So I would say probably fighting games overall have some of the hardest trophy lists, unless it's a Tekken game for some reason.
I was just
I was
about
gonna
to say
say Tekken is very generous for some reason with their trophies. But
Tekken, you can get a platinum in one day, dude. Like,
but like the Mortal Kombats and the Street Fighters, fucking nuts, dude. So
All I have left on Street Fighter 6 is just it's 3 trophies. It's win 1 tournament, win 5 tournaments, and win 10 tournaments. Doesn't sound crazy, but just I haven't even played in a tournament because you have to sign up, and it's like sign up for this tournament that starts at 5 p.m. next Tuesday.
I was gonna say it's all real people, right? So
yeah, it's real people, and it's scheduled. It's not like join in a moment. It's like in a couple days this tournament will happen.
You said you gotta win them?
Yes, win.
That's
1
hard.
tournament, 5 tournaments, 10 tournaments.
Yeah, that's
not happening.
I would never be
I
able
haven't
to do
even
that.
joined a tournament yet because I can't plan ahead several days in advance. I'll play Street Fighter Tuesday at 4. Like, no. Like,
Yeah, he'll be there. He'll be strolling on there at 4:06 after getting groceries.
Yeah, exactly.
So funny. No, yeah, because I would love to get the platinum in that Capcom fighting game collection, but I'm like, there's no way. I wonder if the Marvel vs. Capcom one is similar. I haven't bought it yet digitally because I have pre-ordered the physical version. I'm just waiting for that to show up.
I looked at it after
Does
we played
physical come out?
It comes out like maybe like Tuesday. I think it's like the 12th.
Oh, okay, so soon. Cool. I pre-ordered it because I also, the fact that it comes with a comic is just neat too. So
yeah.
And I will say, probably the coolest art style in anything ever is the Marvel vs. Capcom art style. It is just so sick. All those characters look so cool in that art style.
And the MVC2 character select music. Great.
I love that it's just a 3-second loop forever. There's nothing else to that song. It's like the worst song in a game ever. It's not true, but it's pretty bad. It's so dumb.
Great until like the 30th time you hear it.
And then you're like, all right, fucking pick Psylocke or whatever you're doing. Let's get moving. You're like, I can't listen to this anymore. Oh, good times. We did play that while we were over at your house. I had a very good time. So
Yeah, it was fun. I was mashing all sorts of buttons.
shout out to Surfbot, the most useless character I think I've ever played in any game ever.
And Surfbot, I played with Christian at the Cidercade and I beat him with Surfbot.
Did you really?
And I got a photo to prove it.
Certified better gamer than Christian if you were able to do that.
I beat my nephew at Mario Kart. That's about as hard as it is to beat Christian in a fighting game. So
Oh
Damn.
man.
Don't be mean. All right. Well, Those are pickups, what we've been playing. I think it's time for Mr. Tyler to give a history lesson. Tyler, what's happened since the last time we talked?
Well, since the last time we talked, October 31st, 1996, Eidos Interactive releases Tomb Raider. I almost said video game. I keep copy and pasting these, and it's I should really
The
just
Tomb Raider video game for the PlayStation 1 console.
Tomb Raider. Yeah, for the PlayStation and Saturn.
That's true. But no one played it on the Saturn.
The game innovates with 3D, third-person adventure gameplay. I can't talk. But then also in 1999, Capcom releases the Resident Evil 2. Not saying it for the Nintendo 64. All right,
yeah.
This is gonna be hard to get through this whole thing.
Too.
Then also, man, I don't know why I didn't write a year, but in some year on October 31st, Sony released Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 2 for the PS2 in the US. I definitely want to check those out with the remasters. I never played them.
Mm-hmm. I think they're adding the originals to PlayStation Plus as well, which is kind of cool. So we'll be able to play either one.
Neat.
Isn't that I was gonna say, I think famously it's interesting. Amy Hennig worked on those games, who ended up making the Uncharted series, which is cool. Interesting
Pretty
path.
Yep.
November 1st, 1995, Sega releases Tails Adventure for the Game Gear in the US.
Hell yeah!
A box to complete my copy.
I was gonna say I've never played it, but I've always wanted to. It's considered like one of the Game Gear's best, and it's like a weird Metroidvania style game, so it's kind of cool, something different.
Yeah. And you can play it on what was that Sonic collection that came out?
Oh, that's true. They put the Game Gear games on there, right? The
Origins
collection.
Yeah, Origins collection. That's what it was. 1996, Nintendo released Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble for the Super Nintendo. Might be talking about that later. Who knows with all of our picks.
Maybe. I haven't played that one yet, so not on my list.
No.
There's something about Baby Kong that makes me want to kick him, so he's just really gross.
Moving along after this violent history segment. 2001.
I hate kids.
Square Enix releases Dragon Warrior 7 for the PlayStation.
One of the longest fucking games ever. It's insane how long that game is.
And again, there's no year, but I think it was 2003. I could be wrong. Craig, I wanted to ask you. I brought this up. It's a Japanese news story, but I want to ask you because you might know. So Microsoft and Sega released a limited edition 999 produced Panzer Dragoon Orta Xbox system in Japan. Mm-hmm. It included a white case, white controller, Panzer Dragoon Orta video game, and a special necklace. Price is about $325. How much does that thing go for now?
Dude, I don't know. I'd give my fucking left nut for it, though. I've wanted that thing for so long. It is the coolest looking console. I've seen people who've owned it before, like on Facebook groups and stuff, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And Panzer Dragoon Orta, probably my favorite original Xbox game. I really, really like that game. I just love the Panzer Dragoon series to death. And I really think that Orta kind of gets overlooked since it's not part of the original Saturn games that people are more familiar with. But if you have an Xbox, modern day, Series X or S or whatever, you can buy it digitally on there, or you can play the physical discs. So definitely recommend. A cool unlockable too. Once you beat the game, you unlock Panzer Dragoon 1, so you could play Panzer Dragoon 1 as well. So definitely recommend for people who haven't played it. But yeah, I want that console so bad. I've never seen one for sale, so I don't really know what they go for.
I'll say $49.99.
Probably more like
final guess.
Add like another 9 on there, something crazy. Probably people go crazy for specifically like original Xbox console variants. I've noticed people really go hard for those. Like when you see once in a while, like the Mountain Dew one or like the transparent blue one, like really rare ones like that. They're really
60,
cool.
Even 60. Final offer. Final guess.
I know what I got.
Know what I got. Don't lowball me.
That's my favorite. I had someone do that to me at the convention. That was fun. I got and I know what I got from one of the vendors. And I'm like, then why are you selling it at a fucking game convention? People are going to give offers. And it's not like I was lowballing them. I wasn't, I didn't offer much on almost anything because I feel guilty. But it's like this guy's thing was actually a little overpriced. So that's why I was like, hey, I offered him like more like price charting value. And
it was like, I know what I got, man. I know
he
what
threw
I
out the note. He knew what he had, and I did not go home with that game. So it was Goonies 2 for the NES, by the way.
Oh man, I'm still sad you didn't pick up that Tom Sawyer. Just saying.
I know I should have gotten that. I should have gotten Tom Sawyer, but it was just a little too rough for my liking.
Uh, let's see. Also, November 1st, 2006,
The price it goes
Nintendo
for?
released.
I was waiting the whole time for the price it goes for.
Oh, I don't know. That's why I asked
He was
Greg.
asking me.
Oh, I thought you were like a trivia question. I'm sorry. Okay. That was a genuine ask. Apologies. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I
All
can
right.
find anything. Keep going.
Well,
Let me look.
Zach was the closest without going over. 49.99 wins it.
No, I settled at 60. So
Okay, 60. Still probably closest without going over. 2006, Nintendo released Pokemon Ranger for the DS. Cool series. I made Zach play it on stream. That was fun times.
Oh, that's fun.
November 2nd, 2004, Sony released Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal for the PS2 in the US.
Great title.
2004, Sega releases the Sonic Mega Collection Plus for the PS2 and the Xbox. November 3rd, 2004, Nintendo begins taking orders for the Nintendo DS on internet shopping sites. After receiving 2 million orders during the day, most sites are closed to taking any further orders.
internet
Crazy.
shopping sites, huh?
So just so y'all know, I cannot find any like history of sales for that Panzer Dragoon console. So
Oh.
the answer is whatever
It's
someone's willing to
priceless.
pay at that point. Yeah.
All right, well, Zach got the only offer out there. 60
Good
bucks.
job. Good guess. You won.
Somebody sell this man your very rare console.
Yes.
$60 on the table.
Cash.
November 4th, 1998, Sony releases Crash Bandicoot Warped for the PlayStation. Price is $49. Pretty cool. Well, $49 back then. November
It's about
5th, 1991.
$10,000 now.
November 5th, 1991. There was two mayors. Tom Bradley of Los Angeles, California, and Xavier Suarez of Miami, Florida. They officially declared that day Nintendo Fun Day. So I thought
yeah.
that was kind of interesting.
my
Only in
favorite
Florida and
federal holiday.
California. Only in California and Florida. That's probably why that's where the only two Nintendo Worlds are.
That's
Eh,
it. Nintendo Fun Day.
Nintendo
That's what it
Fun
is.
Day. Probably get half off tickets on that day. November 5th. Get there.
No, if
November
you're
6th.
lucky, Nintendo will give you a fucking sticker. Is like the bonus for the day. Cheap asses.
Scan your My Nintendo account right here and get a sticker. November 6, 2000, Nintendo released Hey You Pikachu for the N64. As much of a Pokemon fan I am, I never played it.
I've always
But I
wanted to
always
try it
wanted
to
to-
see if the voice recognition is as bad as people say.
I just wanted to go do what people do when they say if you say PlayStation, he just gets mad.
So
I'm
funny.
like, PlayStation. PlayStation. But 2007, Square Enix released Dragon Quest Monsters Joker for the Nintendo DS. You ever play those games, Greg?
No, I've heard they're very good though.
Yeah,
But
I never played
I-
the first two, but I played the one on the Switch.
Yeah, I haven't played many Dragon Quest spin-offs. I played a little bit of the Dragon Quest Heroes back in the day, and a little bit of Dragon Quest Builders, which was really cool, but never any of like, because there's a lot of DS and 3DS spin-offs for Dragon Quest specifically.
Yeah. Gotta get that rocket slime. It's all about
Yeah,
rocket slime.
I've heard that's great.
November 7th, 1996, Sega released Sonic 3D Blast for the Genesis and Saturn. 2005, Nintendo releases Mario Party 7 for the GameCube. 2005, Nintendo releases Donkey Kong Country 3 for the Game Boy Advance. 2006, Microsoft announces it will offer over 1,000 hours of television shows and movies for download on the Xbox 360. What a time to be alive. November 9th, 2002, EA released SSX Tricky on the Game Boy Advance. You ever play that version, Zach?
I have not, but that's awesome. I didn't know that existed.
Hell yeah.
I need to look
And
that up.
then November 10th, 1994, Sega released Sonic the Hedgehog Triple Trouble for the Game Gear in the US.
Underrated as fuck. Game's
But
fun.
so, one thing, I'm going to go back real quick because I want to say this one for last. October 29th, 2009, in England, there was the 27th Golden Joystick Awards ceremony is held for games released between May 2008 and May 2009. I always thought it's fun when we do these and just go over the games that came out.
Yeah, for sure.
So, funny enough, the game that won, I guess, Game of the Year, but they call it Ultimate Game. Shout out to Jonathan, Fallout 3.
All right.
Best multiplayer game, Call of Duty World at War. All right. Now this one I want y'all to guess. Between May 2008 and May 2009, what won Best Nintendo Game?
I don't know if it was out. I'm just gonna say I think it's Mario Galaxy.
Wii Sports Resort.
It was Call of Duty World at War.
Oh, God.
Hell yeah. The best version to play.
I bet it's actually kind of fun to play that version, like the online
so-
with the pointer controls.
I think of all the time this poor kid in my neighborhood growing up. People used to bully him because, people would want to play, Black Ops or whatever, and he'd be like, yeah, we could play at my house, and he had the Wii version. So everybody would make fun of him. Like, this poor kid. It was like, he got on the Wii.
It's awful.
I'm not saying it was
what do
right,
you-
but it's really funny.
So, what do you think was their most anticipated game, or should I say the one to watch, is what they call it,
One to
For
watch.
Nintendo or all games?
for all games?
Call of Duty World at War 2.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare 2.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
See, I was close.
Best soundtrack went to Guitar Hero World Tour.
I feel like that's a
Just 'cause
little
it has
unfair.
a mix of, just a mix
That's
of
like when
normal
you ask
songs.
somebody their favorite video game soundtrack and they say Grand Theft Auto. I'm like, this doesn't really count.
Best family game, Little Big Planet.
All right,
What do you think the best handheld game was?
best hand.
2008. Is it whatever Pokemon came out that year? Is it Pokemon Pearl?
It's Call of Duty World at War.
Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars for the Nintendo
Oh
DS.
hell yeah!
I heard that game's fun. I've never played it, but
I vaguely remember playing the PSP version, but I don't know how similar it is to the DS version.
Best mobile game was Metal Gear Solid Touch.
Whoa!
Best Xbox game was Gears of War 2. Best PlayStation game was Killzone 2. And the best online game, what do you think it would be?
if it's
Call
not
of Duty
War,
World at
everything makes
War.
sense.
Left 4 Dead.
Oh, there you go.
Whatever.
It made no sense when I was reading it. I was like, oh, we gotta talk about this. And that concludes the Luscious Sluts history lesson.
There it is. Hope you took
Yeah.
notes, children. There's going to be a test at the end. All right, boys. Well,
Man,
I think it's about time for that beautiful topic of the show.
it's about that time.
Talking about our favorite Super Nintendo games. So if you don't know, if this is your first time seeing one of our best console games episodes, what we do is we assign points to each game that we give. We do Mario Kart rules. So if the game is number 5 on our list, it gets 1 point. If it's number 4, it gets 2 points, yada, 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 all the way to number 1 getting 5 points. We rank them all at the end and come up with the definitive list of best games for that console because clearly our word is gospel. And this is coming from 3 men who have never beaten Chrono Trigger. So really, this is probably the least accurate Super Nintendo list on the internet. But you know
We'll
what?
try to play a lot, and then 5 years from now, we'll do a recount, see where we're
There
at.
we go. Yeah, you know what? As time goes on and we play more and more old shit, since that's what this show is mostly about, is playing old shit, it might not be a bad idea to do revised lists at some point on some of these things, so as we put more games under our belt. But I think that I would like to go first.
Go for it, man.
So my fifth favorite Super Nintendo game is going to be Super Metroid. I really, really enjoy Super Metroid. When I played it the whole way through, I played it on the 3DS just because I was the console I had it downloaded on at the time. It's I think the best of the 2D Metroid games, and I've played at least a version of all of them except for Metroid 2. I think that the soundtrack is super weird and interesting and memorable. Obviously, Samus is just a really cool design character. The progression in these kind of games feels so good. You know, it's such a gut punch starting out with everything and being a total badass, losing it all, but then getting it back.
Yeah.
It's like no genre of video game has a better sense of progression and feeling like you're getting stronger than Metroidvanias, and obviously Metroid and Super Metroid is basically the one. You know, when people think of these games, they either think of this or Symphony of the Night. And I love Super Metroid. I think all the bosses are very fun. The Kraid boss fight I remember in particular being very fun when you see him rise and see the scale of him is super cool. I remember this game being fairly doable without any guides, which is good because usually I get lost enough in a Metroidvania to where I need to look something up, and I don't think I looked anything up for this game. The environmental teaching of the game is really cool. One thing I always think about is when you get the super jump and you have like those birds that you kind of see run away and then jump up and you're like, oh, and it's kind of like being like, you can do this too if you like if your brain clicks and figures it out. And the way that the game kind of teaches you some of its abilities is just really cool, really memorable. Obviously the fight with Mother Brain at the end is one of the coolest, I think, boss fights in probably any game. Very, very memorable. The baby Metroid saving you, a really cool moment. Just a very, very memorable, very replayable game. I think that I could see why. I don't think I have the skill to do it, but I could see why this is like one of the speedrunning games of all time, because it's very being able to do the sequence breaks and just memorizing where all these different things are and optimizing routes and stuff is such a replayable game in that sense. So shout out to Super Metroid. That is my number 5. I will say the game that I was undecided about putting it number 5, but I went with Super Metroid, was Donkey Kong Country 2. But I think Super Metroid edges it out a little bit in terms of just favorite games for the console. So, quick shout out to Donkey Kong Country 2.
Well, speaking of Super Metroid, Craig kind of hit the nail on all of it. It's my number 3.
Number 3? Okay.
We're giving
Number
some
4.
more extra points.
Oh, it's number 4 for you? Okay, so we all have it then. Cool. So we can all gush about it then real quick.
Yeah, like Craig was saying, the progression in it feels really good. I started Super Metroid. The one day I was just didn't really know what to play. I was like, I feel like playing something retro, so I booted it up on Nintendo Switch Online, and I just played through the whole thing. Well, not like one sitting, but that's like all I'd play for like a couple days. Had a great time with it, and then eventually loved it so much that I bought a complete copy off of some dude that has a weird obsession with mayonnaise.
That's true. You did buy my copy. I totally forgot about that. I had a really nice CIB copy.
Right over there.
And I sold it to this man right here. So you're welcome, by the way, because I cut you a hell of a deal on that game.
He did.
You got
I'm
a
gonna
really
say
good homie
reseller,
discount.
but he gave me a good deal, so I can't say that. It wasn't. He was like, I know what I got, but I'm gonna hook you up. So that's essentially how it went. That and Breath of Fire 4, but that's PlayStation. We ain't talking about that. So yeah, back to Super Metroid. One of my favorite video game bosses, Ridley. He's in there, and so excited when they added him to Smash Brothers. Little side note, just saying.
Yeah, that was hype.
I popped off, but yeah, music's really good, progression's really good, and like you said, like pretty much all the boss fights, like I really enjoyed them all. Feel like I had a good. You were always doing something. Had a great time with it.
Mm-hmm.
By you, Zach. That's Super Metroid.
Yeah, Super Metroid, I feel like a lot of Super Nintendo games, Nintendo really figured out like 2D games. A lot. If you go back to a Nintendo game, whether it be Mario, Zelda, Metroid, there's a lot of like, oh well, you had to be there at the time, or it's the first game, yada yada. A lot of Super Nintendo games are still really solid today. Super Metroid, I feel like, still could come out today and people would still praise it. Like Metroid 1 and Metroid 2, I feel like getting lost in that game is a chore, and I don't like getting lost in that game. And Super Metroid, I don't get lost. I feel like I'm exploring. I feel like I'm actually having fun looking around. Where in like Metroid 2 on the Game Boy, it's just like painfully, it's just awful to get lost because you don't know where you're at. It's very samey. It's not fun. But in Super Metroid, I feel like it's enjoyable to look around, find secrets, and progress. I don't know if it's my favorite 2D Metroid. I think I think I will just say I think Metroid Dread is my favorite 2D
Really?
Metroid.
I do like Dread a
Um,
lot too.
Dread's
Yeah.
very good, but then Super is right there with Zero Mission. They're both probably 2 and 3 tied.
Hmm.
Um, I like both those games a lot. But yeah, Super Metroid's great. My number
Cool,
four.
cool. All right. I guess then, Zach, do you want to also give us your number five?
Sure. Yeah. I was having trouble picking my five. I really couldn't nail down what I want to go with. I ended up settling with Yoshi's Island.
Oh, okay.
Um, I played it originally on the Game Boy Advance, but I'm just counting the Super Nintendo version.
Hmm.
Um, I think what really won it over was I do really like the art style of this game. I think it's very unique. I like that Yoshi got a real platformer, and I feel like Yoshi games haven't been as good since this game. I feel like if you're gonna play a Yoshi game, this is the one to play.
Hmm.
Um, it's when you're if you're trying to be like a completionist for the game, you get graded on like a 100 point scale on every level, which is like pretty brutal. Because I feel like if you miss one tiny thing, you get a 99, like one of those little like star bits.
Oh, shoot.
And it's like I can't have a 99 on the screen. I got to go back and try to get 100. I don't know if I ever actually won 100% of the game or not, but it's a solid game. I like the little things Yoshi turns into, like the helicopter is the one that I always think about. Uh, and then the Baby Mario stuff. People complain about Baby Mario crying when he gets knocked off your back, and that's valid. I think it's kind of funny, because it's like, why did they like this is objectively a bad thing to have in here. It's very annoying, but I think it's kind of funny they went with it.
Hmm.
So yeah, Yoshi's Island. I refuse to accept it being Super Mario World 2, wherever the hell they call it. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's
Two,
Island.
Yoshi's Island.
I refuse to accept that,
No.
but as it is, Yoshi's Island, I think it's a solid game. But
I
Very
have
nice.
not played Yoshi's Island yet. I definitely want to. Um, I don't know. I remember trying it long ago, and I felt like the controls felt a little weird to me. But I probably haven't tried it in like literally a decade. So, I've heard
yeah,
the Game Boy Advance port is the way to go though, because it has extra content and levels. Correct?
I couldn't tell you. I've never
Okay.
actually played through the full Super Nintendo version. I've only ever
Okay.
played the Game Boy Advance version and then some of it on NSO.
Yeah, I was gonna say I
One
think
of the
both of
Super
them are
Nintendo
on
versions.
both versions are on NSO, I believe. So
Yeah, that was
good to
annoying
know.
when Nintendo added act like it was a big deal to add the Game Boy Advance ports of games already on the cheaper version of the service to the more expensive version of the service.
So
Like
funny.
you can play these again, but for $50. Like, come on, guys. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
That's funny. Oh,
Yeah.
dang it, I need to make a note because I just smacked my microphone with my hand and I don't want to make the people's ears bleed later. Oops.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I do that at least
Um,
once an episode, and then if I don't write down the time, then I have to like look for it, and that's just the last thing that I want to do. So, Tyler,
Start banging the microphone at random increments. Just
I will fire you so fast. Tyler, do you want to go ahead and give your number five?
My number five as well was like a toss up. I had my number 1 through 3. It was like a lock. Like I knew what I wanted to put for there. 4 and 5 was a little bit of toss up. There's a bunch of Super Nintendo games that I feel like deserve to be on the list. But then there's also a whole bunch that like I still need to play. But so my number five came down kind of like for a whole nostalgia factor because I can't even recall if I actually beat the game before, but I just always have a good time with it. And that game is Super R-Type.
Oh,
Kind of
okay.
like got me kind of all involved into the whole shmup category of games, or genre, not category, but of games, and just having that sense of feel of playing through it. You know, get to a certain point. You know, back then we don't have save states. You can't save the game, so you just start right back at the beginning. And as a kid, I was not that great at that game. I mean, I don't know. I got to go back and like play that. I haven't played it for a while, but just every time getting that sense of like accomplishment when you get to a new part that you never been to, and you're like, yeah, you know, I could do this and do it again. I feel like one time I need to go back and just sit there, play it, and beat the whole game just to say I did it, since it's one of my favorite Super Nintendo
Hmm.
games. And then also just it's also one of my dad's favorites, so we would like play that together. So kind of just got me all involved into the shmup genre, and I appreciate it for that. So it's got to be one of my top
Nice.
favorites.
I gotta say, R-Type is just one of the coolest names for a game ever. It just sounds cool. But I have no experience with the R-Type series in any way, shape, or form, so I need to try to check that out too.
Pretty good. And they're cheap. They're just like the cheaper ones of the shmups.
That's good to know at least, because yeah, it's crazy. Shmups are just one of those genres, like you know, like very popular horror games and JRPGs is just famously famous to collect for. It's like people go out there and they collect just that genre, so that's pretty brutal.
Zach, you ever play R-Type?
Oh.
I never played R-Type.
Yeah. No, okay. Well, y'all need to play.
I played. I don't know if I've played like a whole lot of shmups. I feel like it's like I've played them, but I couldn't tell you which ones I played. I feel like
Dude, like I'm not that great at them, but they're just so fun. Like I don't know, just the fact of having like a whole little bullet hell and shit, everything coming at you, and
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I've played games with like bullet hell elements, but never strictly like shmups. Like you know, like Nier Automata has a lot of interesting bullet hell mechanics in it. What's it called?
Returnal's kind of a bullet hell. You played
That's
Returnal
true.
on the PS5?
I haven't, but I've heard it's a really good game too. I've heard that game has very big Metroid vibes as well. So.
Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, it's definitely like it's definitely Metroid and Alien inspired, which makes sense because Metroid is Alien inspired.
That's cool.
So.
Yeah, I need to check that out because I'm a big Alien fan as well. All right, so I guess.
But you don't like E.T.? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with?
If you were to ask me what's more disgusting looking, E.T. or a xenomorph, the answer is E.T.
wins for a different reason. E.T.
Man.
I've seen a lot of people saying that the xenomorph from Alien is on their Hear Me Out list recently, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Can I just say it? We should beat E.T. with hammers. Can I just say it?
Yeah, just brutally murder him in the public eye. Everyone know how we truly feel about him.
Oh, you ever hear him scream? You don't want that, dude.
I haven't heard him scream, and I want to keep it that way. I know so little about E.T., and I plan on keeping it that way forever.
No, we got to do an episode based on the Atari game.
I can't remember if I told you.
It'll be a 5-minute episode.
We can do a YouTube short episode.
There's this E.T. joke I saw one time. It's like they're pitching E.T. sequels, and it's like they go to E.T.'s planet, and they're all wearing clothes. It's like, why was E.T. not?
He's just some freak.
Yeah.
He's too hot on Earth, man.
That's fair. He was probably in Texas.
Yeah, probably.
In poor Texas. All right, my number 4 game. This is the 4th game in a franchise, and that's Final Fantasy IV. So I played a majority of the older Final Fantasies at this point. I've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. I need to go back to 5 still, but I played through 4. Played through that last year. Absolutely loved it. Has a very, very deep and well-written story, especially for the time. Has one of the most memorable openings to any game I've ever played. The music is phenomenal. The characters are very interesting. There's a lot of kind of interesting like religious aspects and inspirations in the game, which I found kind of fun. As someone who was was raised Catholic, so I have a lot of knowledge of church and religion and whatever other kind of things you want to say. So it's kind of funny whenever I see biblical things inside of stories. It just kind of sticks out to me because I'm like, oh yeah, it's like my boy Jesus. So. But there's a lot of really memorable characters. The big bad Golbez, of course, is very cool, very famous character. Cecil and Kane, the 2 main boys from the game, fantastic characters. I like that they went from. I like that they started to kind of do the thing more from this game going forward, where it's like this character is this class and you build it around that, opposed to the old games where you kind of just start filling in the blanks of doing that, or even in the case of 3, where you're changing your class depending on what you need to do. I kind of like that. It's more based around just the individual characters and classes that they have. This game famously created, as far as I'm aware, or at least made it famous, the active time battle system, which is, you know, a bit more of a interesting take on turn-based combat. I do like the ATB system. I know some people don't. But I like that it kind of forces you to keep moving. Like, you can't just sit there forever and think about what you want to do. You have to keep making a move of some kind, otherwise you're just going to get your ass beat. And this game just has it's very sentimental to me. I really enjoyed it. It has a lot of really interesting and cool plot twists. A lot of really, it's kind of funny. The Super Nintendo artwork, some of it's very goofy looking. Like you could tell it's like an early Super Nintendo game opposed to when you play something like Final Fantasy 6 and 5, where I feel like the pixel art looks like much more later Super Nintendo, a bit more advanced. I don't know. It's just very, very great game, very memorable. Not my favorite Final Fantasy, but it's in my top 3 Final Fantasies. So definitely recommend it to you boys and anyone else out there that's a JRPG fan. I think that part of the reason I'm a little bit also biased towards this game is because one of the songs from it we actually played at our wedding. So I associate this with, the greatest day of my life. And all that. So shout out to Final Fantasy IV. Great music, great soundtrack, great characters, very well written. Takes a lot of interesting twists and turns that you wouldn't expect from this high fantasy game. Like I said, one of the coolest openings I think to a game ever. It has a really, really great introduction to the world, the characters, kind of like the themes, the vibes of it all. It's very, very good. So yeah, Final Fantasy IV. It's my number 4.
Now this is Final Fantasy 2 when it
Yes.
released here, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so if you were to buy a Super Nintendo copy, it would be Final Fantasy 2.
Yeah.
But every re-release of it since then, they've corrected the number to be 4. So
That's good.
yeah, I know neither of you guys unfortunately have experience with this one yet, but it's
Yeah, I've got the
a
pixel.
heavy recommend, of course.
I've got the Pixel Remaster. I need to just dedicate. That needs to be my game at one point. Just play through all 6 of them.
So what I did was I played 1 through 4 all in a row, and then after that I needed a break because that was just so much Final Fantasy at once. But I think that going through those games all in a row, it definitely felt like a big leap once I finally got to 4. With how much different it get from being an NES to a Super Nintendo franchise. So, and there's shout out to the Spoony Bard meme that originates from this game. Shout out to the Spoony Bard meme. So, good old Final Fantasy IV. Not my favorite Final Fantasy, like I said, but it's up there, and I do think it's one of the best in the series. Despite some people saying that it hasn't aged that well, I think that it is. As someone who played it, fairly recently, very, very, very good game.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
All
I
right.
did my 4.
So you did your 4 already, so I
Sweet.
guess we're skipping to your 3.
Oh, you want to just go to my 3? You want to do Tyler's 4?
We could do Tyler's 4, and then I guess we'll
My
skip
4.
his 3.
Oh my god. Nah, but so my number 3 kind of also comes down to a little nostalgia thing because I played this one a lot with my dad. And that is going to be F-Zero.
Oh.
F-Zero, really fun, fast-paced racing game. Really hard on the Super Nintendo.
They're all hard, man.
Yeah, I was about to say they're all kind of hard.
It's a hard
But,
franchise.
But man, once you get into them, oh, they're so good. The music's great. Just like I said, the sense of having all that speed. And once you finally can nail a course down in the originals, oh, it feels so good. I was so happy when they did that F-Zero 99 thing. I was stuck on that for quite a bit. I never actually won one. I think I got 4th or 3rd.
That's tough.
But yeah, it got real crazy at the end when everybody's blowing up. But
That's the closest I've got when I blew up at the finish line. I think I was playing with you, Tyler. When we were
yeah,
doing it.
I remember that.
I blew up at the finish line. I never got that close ever again.
Man, they're still updating that. I got to go back and
Yeah,
get on
they've
that.
added lots of new tracks.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's the one that they decided to keep around basically forever, it seems like. Because they stopped the Mario one. I don't know. Are the Tetris and the
I think Tetris is still going.
Pac-Man one still going?
Pac-Man is offline now. They took that offline. Tetris still gets the every couple month themed. It's just a different theme background. It's not anything crazy. And then Mario 35 they took down because they hate fun for some reason.
That's also true.
They hate fun. But yeah, F-Zero, really enjoy it. Like I said, played it a lot with my dad growing up. That's another reason it's kind of in my top 5 for nostalgia reasons. One day I got to rematch them and see who's better. But probably me. But we shall see. You guys play F-Zero? Super Nintendo?
I don't think I've ever touched the Super Nintendo version.
I've played it. I haven't played so the Game Boy Advance and the Super Nintendo F-Zeros. I haven't played a whole lot, but they're all fun. And I think isn't F-Zero a joke on like F1 racing? Like it's like faster than F1 racing.
That's
Isn't that
funny.
the joke? But
I never thought of that, but I mean that makes sense.
I think that's the joke.
I like that.
But best F-Zero game is just Smash Brothers with Captain Falcon. That's just
That's fair. He's my
All
man
about
in Melee,
GX.
baby.
Show me your move.
Show me your moves. All right. So this will be, I guess, my number 3 then.
Yep.
So my number 3 is Super Mario World, which I'm sure is probably on Zach's list. I don't know if it's on Tyler's or not. Is it on your list, Tyler?
Yes.
my number 2.
Number 2. What number is this on your list, Tyler?
Number 2.
Number 2? Wow. Okay. So, yeah.
I was
Super
about to have all
Mario
my
World-
games out before we're done.
I know. Sorry. I don't really know what can be said about Super Mario World that hasn't already been said. It basically is just the perfect. If you had to pick an objective perfect video game, not a favorite, I feel like this is possibly the only perfect video game that exists. It's just everything about it. The controls are perfect. All the level design is perfect. I don't think there's a single bad level in the game. I think all of the challenge in it is super fair. Aesthetically, the artwork is adorable and cute. All of the music is super catchy and memorable. I mean, I guess if there's a low point, maybe the bosses are all kind of lame because it's like all the Koopa kids are kind of just the same. But even then, I still think they're fun. I like the balancing act you have to do against them. Yeah, I don't know. I feel kind of weird saying that's my number 3, and I don't have that much to say. But I feel like it's just like when I think of a perfect video game, it's like the only 2 that come to mind are probably like this and Tetris. It's like there's just nothing wrong with them. They're just fun to play. There's no frustrations. There's no problems in my eyes. They just feel great. The sound effects are super punchy and good. I don't know. Shout out to Super Mario World. Just a great game overall.
Yeah,
I agree.
So I always go back and forth on if Mario 3 or Super Mario World are my favorite 2D Marios.
Mm-hmm.
I think what consistently brings me to Super being better than 3 is I think the just the overworld map is like the best overworld map in a 2D like a 2D platformer.
Mm-hmm.
I love just looking at it. It looks great, and the secrets, like the secret exits.
Yep.
Being able to skip things and like the whole Star World and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I feel like they haven't done that as well as Super Mario World since Super Mario World. I feel like they don't quite lean into it as much as they did, and we're like you can go from World 2 to just the Bowser's Castle. Like forget the route, but you can beat
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario World in like 15 minutes, whatever it is,
Yeah.
if you know the route. But I feel like they don't let that happen as much. Like with Wonder, I really liked Wonder, but the map was just kind of boring, and you couldn't there wasn't like fun skips or like a whole lot of secret exits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they don't lean into that as much as they did with World, because that's what I like most about it. Like those weird Yoshi levels in the Star World where you you're grabbing the keys, and the keys bring you to the different levels, and you're going from Star World to a different Star World, and you end up in some random part in the map. I always like that a lot about this game. And getting all the exits is fun. Trying to find all the exits. But...
That's something that I haven't done before, so I still need to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be fun to go back and 100% that, because then what happens again when you get all the exits or something like that, or all the
From spring
coins?
to fall, it goes.
Yeah, that'd be cool to experience myself. one
Yeah, I had
day.
multiple people make fun of me for not knowing that. So apparently that was like super common knowledge. I just didn't know.
Now, here's a fact I might be making up on the spot. This might have been from a dream. You're talking about the bosses being kind of iffy, Craig.
Uh-huh.
There's the one boss. This is the part where I'm making up. It's like the rhinos on like the
Oh no,
circular
yeah,
thing.
that's the thing.
I'm pretty sure that's his name. Is it called Reznor?
Like
I
Trent
think it's
Reznor
named after
of
like
Nine
Trent
Inch Nails
Reznor.
fame.
I think that's named after Trent Reznor, and if it's not, I just dreamed that.
Let's
but
see.
I'm pretty sure that boss is named after Trent Reznor.
Rhino Super Mario World.
Find out
That would
live
be
for everyone
wild if
listening.
they were just like huge Nine Inch Nail fans for some reason. It is Reznor. How
Yeah, I
funny.
think it's named after him. I
See,
maybe I'm just connecting dots.
Reznors are named after Trent Reznor of industrial rock band Nine Inch Nails. It's on the
Let's go.
Wikipedia.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't dream it. It is reality, baby.
That is wild.
yeah, I thought that was very random. And that boss, I don't remember where you fight that boss, but I think it's like it's not a main thing I think it's in a secret level. I feel like you don't have to fight that boss, but
Let's see.
Believe so.
I
That's
don't
so
remember. I
funny.
feel like the Koopa kids are the ones you have to fight.
Mhm.
You know, this doesn't feel right that there's a Mario character named after Trent Reznor. That just feels weird to me.
Yeah, I know.
Because, of course, I said that as a joke, and then you kept talking. I'm like, oh, that's where he was going with this.
Yes. So like I knew that was like in the logic bank in the back of the brain. I couldn't remember if it was real or not. So I'm thank y'all for validating this for me.
That's really funny.
But
I wonder if he knows.
maybe.
Like, the guy who made the score for the Facebook movie is just...
Can you sign my Mario World? What?
Oh, that'd be so awesome to get Trent Reznor signed Mario World.
That'd be the dumbest, like, association signature ever. That'd be so funny.
People will be like, he has no correlation. Yes, he does.
Yes, he
Do you
does.
not
For
know
one
the
of-
lore of Super Mario
So
World?
funny. Alright, so Super Mario World. Sorry, I forgot to add up the points. This was both of your number twos, correct?
Correct.
So +4. Alright.
I'm already thinking this one's winning, but
It's probably going to be winning because I don't think either of you guys even played my number two or number one. So,
one of them's probably
when we get there.
Earthbound. The other one, I have no clue.
interesting. Also, fuck Earthbound.
Yeah,
Game
okay.
sucks.
Only
All
wearing
right.
the shirt and everything.
That's true.
So
I
I
didn't
guess-
even realize I am wearing an Earthbound shirt. That's funny.
So we're about to skip me twice because y'all stole my 3 and y'all stole my 2. So Craig.
I'll do my 3.
Yes.
So
Oh, yeah.
I kind of cheated on this one because it's not a Super Nintendo game. It's a Super Famicom game.
That's good
but
enough.
The
Hey!
the English translation of Fire Emblem 4
So
is
FE4 is number... You said that's number 3?
number 3. Yep.
Okay.
Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War. Really cool game. This is the first game not on the same continent as, what was it, Arcanaya? Whatever the Marth, I think it's Arcanaya, wherever the Marth games are. This is the first game that's not on that
Such a
world.
big fucking nerd for knowing that.
But this game's interesting because there's only 10 chapters, whereas all the previous ones, they're looking like the 20s.
Yeah, I was
But
like,
these
that
maps-
seems really short.
It's gigantic maps. Basically, every map is like several chapters. If you feel like if they were to remake it, which the rumors are they're going to remake it, they would break it up into smaller chunks of each map.
Interesting.
Doing a map will take you like 3 hours. You're taking over castles, and then like the next part of the map will like open up. So that's one downside of it is it takes a long time to just do the moving all your units across the whole map.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, cavalry units are like so good in this game because if you're on a road, they can go like 15 tiles while the infantry units are still going like 6. So
Yeah.
they just get way ahead. It kind of breaks the game because your main lord that you start the game with, Sigurd, he's already promoted and he's on a horse. So he just runs ahead of everybody, kills everybody. Kind of breaks the game. But the game handles that in a way. I won't spoil. The game has a really cool twist on
They
how
kill 'em off.
with the story, and it has some really interesting ways that let you build your characters. You don't just get new characters and they have the same stats as everyone else. How you play the game in the first half of the game will kind of decide how your characters will end up in the second half of the game. Really cool game. A fun arena system that you can really abuse to get like really good equipment and lots of money. It's called the Holy War, Genealogy of the Holy War. Basically, there's holy weapons, and certain characters have holy blood, and that kind of lore is really cool. Like the holy weapons make a character like 10 times as strong as anyone else. They give you like plus 20 on some
shit.
stats. Like
That's nuts.
yeah, like
That's a lot for Fire Emblem standards.
Yeah, so basically, like the holy weapons make somebody basically a god, and if you're going up against somebody who has a holy weapon, you have to fight them with one of your holy weapon users. You're gonna have a tough time, and that's part of the lore. Like they're like feared and revered. These people who have these weapons, and it's a neat little system they got going on there. I won't get into too much, but I really hope they remake it on the Switch. It's been rumored, it's been done for years. Whatever, just give me it. I'm tired of hearing rumors that it's going to come out.
Yeah, because I've heard the same thing. This is always the one people are talking about getting remade. Always this one.
It's been rumored since like the 3DS. I don't get it. But this would be, if they do remake them, they've already remade 1, 2, and 3, so this would be the next one up. So I hope it gets remade. I hope more people can experience it. And I really want to see people's reactions to the story when it does get remade.
Would you say it's one of the better stories in the series?
This is, if you ask like Fire Emblem nerd Reddit world, this is the one that people say is like the gold standard for like the story.
Really interesting.
Yeah. But it's also, I think it has a little bit of that elitism because it's Japanese only. People like to say it's the best because not everyone's played it. So I think there's a little bit of that going on with it, but it is a very good story.
I was gonna say, just because I know we all love Path of Radiance here, would you say that the story is better than Path of Radiance's? Or is it hard to kind of compare?
I'll say this. I'll say Fire Emblem 4 is a better story, but so 4 and 5 are linked the same way Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn are linked.
Because 5 is Thracia, right?
Yeah, Thracia. I've never heard it said out loud in English. I don't know how it's
I don't know what it is either, yeah.
So Thracia takes part in the middle of Fire Emblem 4.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard that's the hardest one, too.
Yeah, it's a lot of bullshit. The guy who made the game, I don't know his first name, but his last name's Kaga. He made the first 5 games, and he was like pulling out all the stops in Thracia. It's just a bunch of nonsense.
That's funny.
But I would say that Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, their combined story is better to me than Genealogy of the Holy War and Thracia 776 combined story.
Okay. Good to know. I still need to play Radiant Dawn. I've been slacking on that for years.
You do need to play Radiant Dawn because like it's so aggravating. Some of the stuff in Path of Radiance that you've seen and know about and just don't know Radiant Dawn really bugs me.
It enhances it a lot more.
Oh yeah.
We'll do a Radiant Dawn episode, then we'll end up just both playing it.
So what I want to do, I was going to talk to you guys about this off camera, but while we're talking about it, that's something I really want to do, is I want to do both of them in a row. Like, I'd love for us to do a Path of Radiance episode, and then when we do our next third episode of a Game Focus one, do Radiant Dawn right after. I think it'd be cool to lead into one another.
I need to reacquire my Radiant Dawn, so that gives me an excuse to go out and buy it again.
There you go. I got my copy at a record store for like $15 long ago. And at the time, even at the time, I think it was like an $80 or $90 game, so I was so excited when I found it.
That's hilarious.
That was a great find.
Damn.
Complete and everything. Yeah, Fire Emblem is one of those series that I really want to play every game eventually, just because of the games that I have played. I like them so much. It's just that there's so many games, so. But
yeah.
But it's like, it's easier now than ever to play the Japanese only ones. They've all been fan translated. Emulators are so easy to, you could run them on anything at this point. You could run them on a fridge.
So easy to set up.
Yeah, no problems playing fan translations on any kind of handheld. So.
Yeah. Only dummy
handheld or computer.
Poor Zach and his clock tower. Did you buy that yet, by the way?
No.
On the PS5?
It's on my list of things. Now that I have my I've literally only played Persona, so
that's fair.
It's on my list of things I want to play.
Yeah, you got a lot of Persona to play as well in the next couple of weeks, so that's fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right,
how many? Real quick. How many Fire Emblems have not been like translated here yet?
I think it's like 6 of them, or no, at this point it'd only be like 4 or 5, maybe. Right?
1 and 2 got remade. 3 is still What the heck did I just? I don't even know what I did.
Discord.
1 and 2.
Happy birthday.
3 is still Japan only. 4 is still Japan only. 5 still Japan only. 6. So it's 4 of them.
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, I got the translation card for Binding Blade, and that's about it.
You said 3 has been translated.
Has not.
Okay, I was gonna say I didn't think so.
It was remade
for DS, right? But only in Japan.
Sorry, my alarm was going off.
Your alarm.
Yeah,
you should have showed that as one of your pickups.
I should have. Yeah, 3 was remade, but only for Japan for some stupid reason because they hate us. I don't know.
Probably because no one bought Shadow Dragon because it was so fucking ugly.
Yeah, and then they did the. I think the 3 remake is in that same style. It's that same ugly, muddy
I
look.
know it's the most unattractive game. I wish there was just like a fan like Resprite. It would make me want to play it more. Oh, Fire Emblem. So Tyler, we already did your number 3, right? Sorry,
Yeah.
we're skipping over all your games.
It's okay.
And we
I
did
got
both
to
of our
talk about
twos.
them.
So I think it's just
Yeah.
All right, so my number 2 is Final Fantasy VI. So I do like Final Fantasy VI more than Final Fantasy IV. I thought about only putting one of them on my list, but I figured, well, fucking whatever, who cares? This is just supposed to be about our favorite games. It's not like I need to do any exclusions or anything. But Final Fantasy VI is, to a lot of people, it's like either 7 or 6 is the Final Fantasy. And if you were to ask me which one I prefer over 6 or 7, honestly, I couldn't tell you. I love them both so much. I think that they're both really good. I love, the story, the characters, all fantastic. Just like 4, it's just everything is more enhanced. It's like such a giant, massive game, especially for its time. It has so many interesting and memorable moments. I'll never forget suplexing a train. I know people always bring that up, but it really is the funniest thing ever, and it's so fun and interesting when it happens. The characters are much deeper and well written in this game. I will say one of the issues with the game, I think there's too many party members. I don't think you needed to have 12 or whatever it is. Let me see. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 characters. You probably could have cut about 5 or 6 of them, and I think that the game wouldn't have changed that much, negatively. Just looking over it, I'm like, yeah, it's like I never used Garu, I never used Mog or Go-Go and all these weird characters, and it's like this very strange and it's arbitrary how you get some of these characters, so you don't really need them. But there's a lot of really cool stuff. Obviously, Kefka, one of the greatest villains in all of gaming. Just like again, like Sephiroth, it's like 6 and 7 are very comparable because it's like they both have the best probably soundtracks in the series. They both have like the best final villains in the game. Some of the best stories in the game. I love the Esper system. I thought that was a really cool way to make kind of have a different way on class making in a way. So each character, is kind of their own class, just like they were in 4. But the Espers are basically equipable magical items. So it's like, think of like summons in later Final Fantasies or things like that. Like you could equip the Esper for Kate Sith or the Esper for Phoenix, and your character can learn like the magical abilities of those characters. But then once they learn it, they can master it. And you could equip another Esper and you keep all of that magic that you learn. Yeah, so, and I really like that. It does make the game a little bit easier, especially once you get later. Once you know the good grind spots, it's really easy to just max everything out and go crazy. Like, I remember by the end of the game, my girl Celeste, I gave her, like, the ultimate weapons, and she was level 99, and she was just doing, like, obscene damage to everything. It was like everything was getting one-shotted, and it was almost too easy. But at the same time, it's the way I chose to play the game. I earned it. I wanted to max everything out. I also played this on the Pixel Remaster. Actually, before this, though, many, many years ago, I got to the final, like, the like latter half of the game, probably had about 20% left. I played the mobile version on my iPhone because at that job, I had a lot of downtime, so that was just how I decided to spend a lot of it. And once I got that far in the game, I was like, I just can't fucking do it anymore. I was like, I did not want to play this game on a phone anymore with touch controls, so I dropped it. And then when the Pixel Remasters came out, I was like, perfect time to go back play that. And it was so much more enjoyable to play just on a console with an actual controller. So would not recommend the mobile version. Definitely not it. But just such a fantastic game. Everything is so memorable about it. Terra's probably my favorite protagonist in Final Fantasy. So I got to give Terra a good shout out. And I don't know, it's just a very, very fantastic game. Lots of tons and tons and tons and tons of optional content and things to do. The final boss is one of the coolest and most epic bosses in any game ever. I don't want to spoil it for people that don't know. But I will say that the song for it is like 20 minutes long, which is incredible that there's a 20-minute song on a Super Nintendo
Wow.
cartridge. It is so fucking bonkers. It's so cool. And yeah, it's just such a great time. It's like if you're a JRPG fan, it's one of those like must plays. Like you have to play it at some point. You're doing yourself a disservice not playing it because it's so damn good, and it holds up in every way possible. It's even visually, it's so funny. The Pixel remasters, they redid the sprites for all of the actual like character sprites, but everything else in the game, like all the enemy sprites, stayed the same because it's like they don't need to update them. They just already look perfect. so
Nice.
so yeah, Final Fantasy 6 / Final Fantasy 3, absolute banger.
Real quick, isn't there a trophy in there that's like very luck based or something like that?
Yes, so I did get the platinum trophy, and this sucked fucking butt, dude. It was so annoying because one character, it's like a gamble mechanic where you have to get 3 sevens in a row through a slot machine, and it's just totally random because even if you time it perfectly, there is an additional like line of code at the back end that randomizes if you actually land the final 7 or not. So it's totally random. So I think that of like my 60-hour time, probably about 10 of those hours was literally just that one trophy. I'm not even kidding. It was insane. Like I would like do it. I would just do it for an hour a night for like a week, and then I gave up. And then after like a couple of months, I went back and tried again for a couple hours one night, and I still didn't get it. And then I just gave up again. And then another month or two later, I booted it up and I got it like second try. So it was absolutely abysmal. So fucking annoying. But yeah, besides that, I'm not going to hold that against it. That's an arbitrary thing that I did to myself.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it still really fucking sucked because it's like RNG trophies are just terrible as is, but that's like as random as it gets. It was like you couldn't even like pause the game and cheese it because like I said, there's that extra line of code in the back that could either make it go up or down one extra one. So it was abysmal. But Final Fantasy 6, one of the all-time greats. So
Yeah, I think this is on my list of shame from the first episode.
I think it might have
I
been.
think, but I definitely want to get around to this one. It's almost like I almost want to play the Pixel Remaster 1 through 5 just to get to 6. I don't think I'm going to let myself just play 6. I think
So
I need to play.
I do think that you should earn 6 if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to just
like
start with 6.
So I was planning on doing it in that order. The only reason I skipped from 5 to 6 was because I already played most of 6 at one point. So I was like, I've already experienced the majority of this anyway.
Sure.
And at the time, I just wanted something that was more story heavy, and 5 is not known for a story nearly as much as 6 was, and I kind of wanted an engrossing story game. So
True.
I kind of cheated myself in that way because I did want to earn 6, so to say. But
Yeah.
fantastic.
Now we're moving into number ones. Right?
Number
Ones.
number ones.
Number one.
So, I'll let Zach go. I'll save my number one. I'll just go last. That way we can keep going in an order of some kind.
All right, so I mentioned during Super Metroid, I think the 3 games that epitomize this the most to me. When I said that Super Nintendo games, I feel like Nintendo really figured out how to do 2D games, and they like all these games, Super Metroid, Super Mario World. You can go back to them today, and they're still just as good as their modern day contemporaries. And I think my favorite of these is Link to the Past. It's my favorite Super Nintendo game.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, it's my favorite top-down Zelda game. I get weird. I don't want to call them 2D Zelda games. I like to call them top-down Zelda games, even though I'm just being a douchebag semantics when I say that.
Actually,
it's a top-down Zelda game. So yeah, it's my favorite top-down Zelda game. I feel like it's such a strong foundation. They could just keep making games like top-down games like this, and I think they would still succeed. Really, really good music. A really cool, like, serious way to start the game for a Nintendo game. It's like raining outside, and your like uncle's going to like, save the day, and he's dead, and then he gives you a sword. Like, it's just a really cool, serious tone to take with a Nintendo game, especially in the '90s.
and shout out to pink-haired Link.
Pink-haired Link, yes. And that's just from the like Super Nintendo palette, right? Because like the cover,
I think so, yeah.
the key art, he's definitely blonde hair.
Still blonde, yeah.
Yeah. So Yeah, pink-haired Link. I like to believe that there's a pink. He's like a shiny version of Link. Um, but yeah, just really solid dungeons. A bunch of items, like equipment in the game. I feel like it just takes Zelda 1 and just makes an actually fun game out of it. I still think Zelda 1's fun to experience. I don't think it's I wouldn't recommend it to everybody to go back to first. I think if you like top-down Zelda games, go experience it, but I feel like you could recommend Link to the Past to just about anybody.
Definitely.
It introduced the Master Sword, and that whole thing, the Dark World, all that. Just a really cool twist that they kind of keep going back to in some way. You kind of can't beat that mid game twist. I say mid game, it's kind of early game. I feel like there's like twice as many Dark World dungeons as there is.
Oh, there is.
Light World.
Yeah, there's only the 3 in the Light World, and then everything else. I think it's
like
I think it
seven,
is 6
seven
or
or eight.
7.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that. Um, just really solid game. Lots of heart pieces to find. Lots of like optional upgrades for your arrows and your bombs. Um, I think Kakariko Town came out to be in this game and that's a recurring thing. So lots of like things that keep going to the well on and bringing back in like modern Zelda, and such a big part of Zelda lore came from Link to the Past.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's fun to play. I think it's a perfect length game. It's like a 20 to 30 hour game. You get a good adventure out of that. It's not too long, not too short, and just really good gameplay, really good music. My favorite Super Nintendo game. I played it originally on the Game Boy Advance, but I've then since gone back and replayed the Super Nintendo version through NSO, just to say I've played the Super Nintendo version of it. But
Yeah, it's funny, because I grew up playing Ocarina of Time, and I did not play all the way through A Link to the Past until only about 2 years ago. And it's funny playing that and being like, wow, Ocarina of Time really didn't have that many unique ideas. So much of it is really from A Link to the Past.
it's the 3D Link to the Past. Yeah.
It is, and it is very good. It doesn't crack my top 5 because I had some annoyances with it, but I did really enjoy it. I think that they truly perfected it when they made A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. I absolutely adore that game. Tyler, what's your history with Link to the Past? Ever play it?
Nope, never
Nope.
played it. gotta put it out there. I own it, but I never played it.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a must play for sure. So
One of these days I'll definitely get around to it. It's one that's on my list that I want to play, but there's so
Yeah.
many that are already on that list, and
yeah, there's a lot of very fun
Yeah.
boss fights in that game. Even like the famous back and forth with the glowing sphere against Ganon is like even that's in A Link to the Past.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite boss is I think it's the first Dark World boss. It's the Helmasaur King, I think he's called. He's got the big I guess it's a helmet. They call it the Helmasaur, but it's like a big like shell face, and you just
Yeah,
bash it
you
with the hammer.
beat up with the hammer. Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
lot of fun.
That's a lot of fun. But
What's the? I forget the name, but there's the one that kind of looks like a big hamburger with a bunch of little hamburgers in the eyes. That's just kind of
I don't.
buddying around the.
I could Zelda boss names. I struggle with because they're just nonsense.
yeah.
Most of the time it's just nonsense names. But
They really are. King Bongo Bongo, of course, one of our favorites. Just
Yep.
absolutely ridiculous. So
yep.
let me go ahead. I gave you the points for A Link to the Past. Great game.
Yay.
Play it if you haven't, of course. Tyler, give us your number 1. I'm
All
curious because I have no idea what it
number
is.
1. No idea. You want to take a guess?
Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, I
Good
think
job, Zach.
Is that
All
it?
right.
Okay, look at that.
So, yeah. So one franchise that Nintendo needs to bring back and start doing a remake of, Donkey Kong Country. That franchise, I played it so much growing up. More so 2. Like, I feel like if I had to rate them on a scale, it would be 2, 1, and 3. But I didn't want to like put multiple Donkey Kong Countries on my list because that would just be weird. See, Zach.
More than
So
one game from a franchise. What a loser would pick more than one game from a franchise.
Yeah, I
for
know
them.
that'd be
Like it-
really
like, yeah,
fucking
my number-
lame.
Donkey Kong Country 3 or 2, Donkey Kong Country 3. But anyway, so Donkey Kong Country 2, I feel like it's well known to be the best of the trilogy, I guess you could say. I feel like it took everything that the first game did great and just improved on it, which makes a great sequel. The characters, I feel like they had a good variety with Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong with the different movements that they all do. The controls are pretty tight. I went back to it on Bird Dog Gaming stream and then found out it's really hard to play that game while multitasking with the chat because I was doing really awful. um, has tons of levels, and I feel like there's not a single level that's like bad per se. I mean, off the top of my head, all the different kind of collectibles in it because me setting games, even not necessarily games that like don't have per se trophies, but like this one, just getting all the letters, doing everything, finding all the secrets, just stuff. Like, there's so much into that game where like I want to do it all, and I never fully did it all, but one day it might happen. And then the soundtrack.
Oh my god.
The God tier soundtrack. God. Just the trilogy in itself. Like,
are you a Sticker Brush Symphony guy or an aquatic ambiance guy?
I don't know. I kind of feel like it varies. I'm
partial to aquatic ambiance myself. So.
Well, okay. I think I'm probably the other way. I like Sticker Brush Symphony, but aquatic ambiance is really good. And by the way, that is like one of the best. I feel like just the swordfish. I don't remember his name. What's the swordfish's name?
Swordy the Swordfish.
Name. Is it?
I just
okay. If it is, I would have been like, wow, how did I not know that? But yeah, I just like all the different types of rideable animals in that game too. The swordfish being my favorite. Most games, like if you get an underwater level, you're like, oh shit, I don't want to do this thing. Water temple. But this one, I'm like, oh, I dig these water levels. They're really fun. The bosses, I feel like all those were fun. Except for King K. Rool, if I remember right, he does like a last little final cannonball at you.
Which is horseshit. That's so fucking annoying. I totally died to that now. I was pissed. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That really got me. I was so angry.
You finally get past all the phases, all the gas, all the cannonballs, all the...
And then he's like, actually...
That one part where he goes invisible, and he's like, you know what?
It's fucked up. It's fucked up, man. I gotta say, I am a Sticker Brush Symphony man. I think that is one of the greatest, most ethereal songs ever written. I've legitimately had like a 5-hour loop of that play before, and I've listened to the whole thing in one sitting. I could listen to that song forever.
It's just a game about monkeys, and then it's like David Wise on the beach with the flaming piano. Like, or is it David Wise or Grant Kirkhope? Is Kirkhope the three? I always get them
Wise
confused.
is the Donkey Kong Country games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now I have to Google it because I don't want to lie. Okay, it was David Wise. We're right. Okay, I was pretty sure.
Yeah.
The game's just so good to me. I could just... It's like one of those games, like, I don't know, I could probably call it a cozy game, I guess. I could just sit back, play it, enjoy it, and it's fun co-op.
Yes,
it's one that I want to go back and finish it with Christian on the NSO. I feel like that would be pretty fun, but...
Yeah, and the sprite work, of course, is great. When I think of Donkey Kong Country, I don't think of Donkey Kong. I think of Diddy and Dixie. Like, that's what I think of. I'm so heavily associated with DKC2 when I think of that series that I think of those two characters before I think of actually Donkey Kong.
This reminds me, I need to go back on the Switch because they added the icon with Diddy Kong with his hat backwards pointing like that. You can get that as an icon now, and I need that.
I love the commitment to the bit with, like, Donkey Kong Country was Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, and then DKC2 is Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, and DKC3 was Dixie Kong, and they even went so far to commit to the bit they added Baby Kong, which is just...
I want to beat the shit out of Baby Kong. I want to run him over at my car. He's disgusting.
The violence!
I'm upset with myself because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about changing my list as we talk about DKC2.
I was going to have...
I like it so much.
One of the DKCs as my number 5, but I couldn't quite put it in there because I can't for certainty say if I've ever actually beaten all of DKC 1 or DKC 2. I think I've played a lot of them at various moments in my life. I've never actually finished them, so I kept them off my list.
I'm gonna be heinous. I'm taking off Final Fantasy 7 since I have 4 since I have 6 on here, and I'm taking it off and I'm adding DKC2 to be my number 4. I'm doing it.
Oh. So now you're the 5. You're just going ripping the 4 out.
I am, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, if I were to go sit down right now and play either Metroid or that, I definitely think I'd rather play Donkey Kong Country 2. As a more digestible, kind of fun jump-in experience.
Sure.
I'm changing it up.
It's great. The friggin' enemy variety is great. The Kremlings.
I love
So
the
good.
the levels where it's like the like honeycomb kind of like beehive ones. They're so just aesthetically cool. And not to mention, this game's pretty fucking tough too. Like, this is not
Oh yeah.
a cakewalk of a platformer.
Yeah.
This is no Mario World. This is your daddy's fucking game.
When Christian and I forget his name, but like we're doing the boss, the sword one. Oh
Hmm?
man, that was
Sorty.
tough. Stop it, Zach.
Sorry. Sorry the swordfish.
Swordy
of
the
course.
sword.
So. I
Yeah,
also
yeah.
think it's cool. I went like
Bladey the blade.
most of my life thinking this was Diddy's Conquest, and then
Mhm.
one day it was like, oh, it's Conquest, and then immediately made it way cooler to me because I never
Yeah.
realized that for a long
Yep.
time.
Diddy's
Yep.
Kong Quest.
Conquest. Yep.
That was such a great pickup you got, dude.
It was because I didn't even
When you
realize till
opened it,
afterwards that it was first print. So,
how do you tell?
because it's made in
Inform me.
Japan instead of made in Mexico. So maybe
Ah.
not first print, but at least earlier print. So,
Yeah, and it has all the inserts, right? If I
yeah, it was
remember right from you
100%
opening it.
complete. All
Oh,
the
yeah.
different ads and all that stuff. So, and it's
And-
funny because I have the sticker on the back. It was 119, and then they dropped it down to
Wasn't it
85
like
at
80?
some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got a great deal on it. I'm super happy with it. It's I don't know. There's just something about the 90s like 3D renders of these Nintendo characters I love. Like, I could look
Yeah.
at like just Mario 64 3D renders for like advertisements and guides and stuff all day. I don't know why. I just think it's so interesting.
Man. Nintendo, bring back the good Donkey Kong Country games, man. Stop giving me
Please.
remakes of a remake of a remake. I'm tired of Donkey Kong Country
Can't
Returns.
believe-
Remake the trilogy.
You cowards.
They ported Tropical Freeze early on the Switch, which I thought that makes sense. Great game on the Wii U, get it on the Switch. And Tropical Freeze is a great game. And then the entire length of the Switch, they're like, put Donkey Kong Country Returns on there
Like,
in
I got it.
2025. It's not even out yet. They announced it like 6 months ago, and it's coming out in January of next year. It's
So
insane.
stupid.
Like, I want to support it because it's Donkey Kong Country, but then I don't want to support it because I'm like, give me a new game. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
It's getting Last of Us.
It really is. This is the third version. It's pretty incredible. But yeah, I feel almost like I betrayed myself putting DKC at number 2 at number 4 on my list now, but I'm committing to it because
Or
in the
maybe you're becoming
moment
true
it
with
feels
yourself.
right. It
You're
feels
being-
right.
hey, you're becoming. See, there you go.
It feels right. All right, so my number 1, if you know me, it's pretty obvious. It's Earthbound.
Whoa, really?
I think
Sorry.
Earthbound would be on all of your guys' list if you ever fucking played it. But Earthbound is
Make me
obviously,
commit to an episode and then I'll have to play it.
I know. So
Or
it's
watch a
tough.
long play.
It's hard because I feel like Earthbound disappoints a lot of people, and that's because this is, one of the most hyped up, most beloved, most praised games of all time, especially among like the hardcore Nintendo fans. It's like one of my favorite quotes from the Angry Video Game Nerd is when he does his he did a video on Earthbound, and he said if Jesus had a favorite game, it's probably Earthbound. And it's just like, it's funny because people really do talk about it like it's this flawless, masterpiece. And I would not say it's flawless. I would not say it's a masterpiece. But it is true that there's nothing else like it. Mother 3 is my favorite game of all time. So Earthbound is one of my favorite games of all time, but its sequel I actually do think is better and superior. But Earthbound obviously kind of set the tone of the quirky weirdness. Is very of its time. You could play it and you could tell it's a game from the 90s with the sense of humor it has, the way that some of the characters are and sprite work are done. It's very good and very cool, and I think part of what makes the Mother series in general is that the lead head of these games was not a game designer. He's made some other games, but it's like Shigesato Itoi is primarily like a copywriter. So the fact that he made these games just kind of based off of it's almost like he doesn't have like the tunnel vision of a game designer. He has all these weird, interesting ideas that I think most game devs wouldn't think of because he's not a game dev. It's not what he does. So when you have some things, for better or for worse, some parts of Earthbound could be super frustrating. The inventory system could be frustrating. Some things just take forever, but then there's certain things that are introduced to the series that I'm assuming he came up with, being the creative director and writer and everything, like the rolling health system. You take damage
cool.
and your HP doesn't just drop, it slowly rolls down, so you have time to react. You can take a hit that's going to kill you, but if you heal yourself in time, then you can keep going, and that's just fucking dope. That is one of the coolest mechanics in any game ever. Mother 3 does this as well. I don't really know of any other games that does this. I can't believe it's not something that like other people have copied, and maybe it's because it's kind of like how you can't make a game that looks like Cuphead, because you're going to know that it's copying Cuphead. If you do a rolling health meter, you might think it's cool, but everyone's gonna be like, oh, they got that from Earthbound. Like, it's such a unique and novel idea that I feel like it can't really be copied. Obviously the music is incredible, the humor is great, the game is known for being very funny, for having a unique and interesting soundtrack. It has one of the most memorable final arcs and boss battles of all time, being Gygus. The fact that you're playing this cute, fun kids game for a majority of it, and then all of a sudden the final boss is this cosmic horror, is just so funny and so interesting and so memorable. There are some other weird, interesting, creepy bits to it, like when you just you meditate and you get your whole body torn apart in text form is very interesting and weird. There's all these weird, interesting things in Earthbound. You get put into a robot. You get infected with fungus. What else do I have? You get turned into a crystal man.
There's more.
You die. So there's a lot going on.
That's. I want to play it now.
Yes, there's so many interesting, weird things in the game. It does suck when your characters die and you have to go to the hospital to bring them back to life. It's funny, but it's annoying, when you have to do it more than once, because you're like, all right, we've already done this. The inventory management system, like I said, is a little rough. You got to call the Escargot Express to come get your stuff, and you call them and they don't come right away. You have to wait. Walk around for a little while, then they come get your items. The same thing when you want them back. Just lots of goofy, weird stuff like that. There's a mechanic where if you don't call home for a while, Ness starts to get homesick and miss his mom, so his attacks start missing because he's depressed. There's just so many unique and interesting and weird things in this game that aren't in other RPGs, and it just has a lot of personality. The psychedelic backgrounds are unique and interesting when you're fighting the enemies. There's tons and tons of enemy variety. I could probably go on for like another hour just about all the things I love about Earthbound, so I'm gonna stop myself, because eventually we'll do a whole episode so I could force these guys to play it.
Oh,
but go ahead.
Do I like how much would you recommend playing the first one compared to playing
Beginnings
Earthbound?
is a superior game.
You don't have to play Earthbound Beginnings or Mother 1, honestly. I would suggest it if you like Earthbound and Mother 3. But I would suggest leaving it for last, because, you're like me, you have tolerance for old games. It's definitely, the least impactful. It still has a lot of personality and interesting ideas, but the Mother series, in terms of when it really found its way, I think really starts with 2 and 3, so...
If I start with 2, I won't lose much of the story? Like, I'll still...
No, so the only crossover really is the big bad, which is Gygus. He's in the first game, and you get more context for him in the second game, but I don't think that is necessary to enjoy it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Neat.
I played Earthbound Beginnings, and I got to the
I always think that's so funny.
got to the desert in Earthbound. I was really enjoying it. The only reason it's not on my list is because I did not finish it. So I will go back to it and finish it eventually. I was very much so enjoying it, and I'm excited to go back to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting and weird things in it. There's good old police brutality. You could buy a house as a child. You could get some hamburgers out of trash cans. Just tons and tons of great stuff. There's nothing else like it. I do feel like sometimes it gets a bad rep because of how hyped up the game gets, but I adore it. It's the game that really got me into game collecting. It's the game that got me into kind of going back and playing older retro games as a whole. So I feel like I owe a lot. I myself owe a lot to Earthbound for kind of introducing me to the biggest aspects of like my hobby life and the things that I enjoy in my free time. So definitely my number one. I don't think there'll ever be another Super Nintendo game to take its place in terms of my favorite Super Nintendo games. I bought a Wii U for it back in the day. So, because I knew that it was on there digitally, and I was like, well, I want to play Earthbound, and then I wasn't really a super knowledgeable about emulating at the time, so I bought a whole ass Wii U for Earthbound and Wind Waker remastered. So,
Nice.
shout out
As
to
you
the Wii
should.
U.
Will we
So
ever
good
get a Mother
times.
4? Will Itoy ever do another Mother?
He said he won't, and also I hope not. So,
Does
think that-
Nintendo own it 50-50? Does Itoy own the rights? If Nintendo said, screw you, we're making Mother 4, can they make it? Or is
I
it
don't think so. I
Itoy's
think it is,
property?
I think it is pretty 50-50. And Itoy's, he said many times that he doesn't want to make more. When Mother 3 came out originally, he was like, nah, he was like, it's like, it's like when a musical artist keeps making albums after the third album, usually they start not to be as good. And I was like, that's respectable. And then famously more recently, Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, like approached him about being like, can I make a Mother 4? And he was like, no, you should make an Undertale 2 instead. And I was like, that's kind of cool. That he's like, no, keep doing your thing. My thing is done, and we're happy with it. So you keep making
I
the
can
thing.
respect that he wants it to end on a high note. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to draw it out till it's not good. I can
But,
respect.
And
but do you
I'm
think
a-
we'll
I'm a-
ever get Mother 3 in the West, though?
At this point, probably not.
No?
And it's part of why I think that we won't is
It's gonna be
because
the Switch
Nintendo
2
does.
launch title.
Well, Nintendo doesn't care that this game is very, very much pirated, and many people know about it and play it, and they've never done anything to attempt to take it down. So it's like if they were planning on doing that, they would have done something. Like how they
That's
got
true.
rid of. They go after all these Pokemon fan games. They go after another Metroid 2 remake. They go after all these other different things. I think the reason that they don't go after Mother 3 is because they don't plan on doing anything with it.
Speaking of that, I seen somebody
Wow.
do a Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, but like as a DS game. I kind of want to like get on that and try it out before it gets taken down. But
Yeah,
yeah,
because
we'll
it
see.
probably will. But yeah, and it's funny because, Itoi himself knows about the Mother 3 fan translation, and he doesn't care. He's just like, I'm glad more people got to play it. That's basically all he ever has to say about it, is he's happy that people get to play it. So I don't think that we'll ever get it. And, I'm a big fan of things ending. I don't like shit that goes on forever. Some stuff out there can justify it because that's the whole point. Like One Piece is about this giant long journey that's meant to go on forever. But then you think about certain things like the MCU probably should have ended long ago because no one's really happy with the direction that it went. I loved the first Joker movie. I know some people didn't, but when I found out I was getting a sequel, I was super annoyed because I was like, this was a great one-off movie. We don't need any more. Even with Metaphor, I'm like, Metaphor, I played that game, I loved it. I kind of hope it doesn't get a sequel, or if it does, it's like, a different cast of characters, a different kind of setting. I think that some things don't need to be continued. One of my all-time favorite animes, Cyberpunk 2077, is one season, one of the greatest seasons of television animation ever. I never want there to be more of it. I think that it's okay for things to... Not everything needs to be a franchise, is, I guess, the point I'm getting at, so...
Yeah, fair enough.
Agree.
So, shout out to Earthbound. That's the one. That's the best Super Nintendo game. Your guys' games don't count. Fuck you. All right. So before we go over our definitive list, we have plenty of write-ins to go over this week.
You gonna
So,
split them?
yeah, we can split them. Tyler, do you have the document open, or did you close it
Yeah,
like
I
a
do.
chump? Okay.
I have
cool.
it.
It doesn't show you online. It shows Zach's online.
Oh, I
so-
just got it on my phone, but I'm still on it.
Cool. All right, so I will go first, and then how about Tyler goes, and how about Zach goes? And then it'll go back to me, I guess, for the end. So first up, we got Jason wrote in. He said, hello, guys. Jason here. Picking just your top 5 Super Nintendo games is a real hard one for me, as is my favorite console, except for my number one that will never change. I tried to pick a different game genre for each one to give it some variety, so here it goes. Number 5, TMNT4, Turtles in Time. I've heard great things about
Pretty
this
good
game.
one.
Never played it.
That's one I played it in the arcade, but I never like actually played it on a Super Nintendo. Like I played it with actually Jason, and I think it was our buddy Matt. We all played it together and beat the whole thing. That was pretty fun.
Number 4, Super Metroid. We've already talked about. Great game.
Great game.
Number 3, this is an honorable mention for me, is Mega Man X. Mega Man X is so fun. Such a great game.
I gotta play the Mega Mans, man. The original and the X ones and Zero. I want to play them all.
Mega
Like,
Man X is the only
oh.
Mega Man game I've actually beaten. So, and that's another one.
Yeah.
I'm disgusting. I played the mobile port, so
Oh,
I played it on my iPhone.
Hey,
And
you're
it was
probably
great.
like one of 3 people that could say they did that. So
That actually finished it that way, right? His number 2, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Obviously, a great choice.
I gotta
And
play
number
it.
1, he said, of course, number 1 Super Nintendo game, whichever would get a remake, which would be far, far better than another remake you got, Zach, Final Fantasy 3/6. So, fantastic choice. Final Fantasy 6, great game. Are you back with us, sir?
I didn't hear what you said, but you can just continue on. It's fine.
Oh, sorry. It's weird. We always cut out when Jason writes in. It's weird.
Yeah.
All
One
right,
day
so
we'll just get
next
Jason on the show and we'll have a whole debate.
that will be fun.
Remakes and remasters part 2.
All right, Tyler, want to go ahead and read the next write-in?
All right. Hey, what's up, guys? John here again to tell you my top 5 Super Nintendo games are 5 Rock and Roll Racing. That's one I picked up. I still gotta check it out.
Mm-hmm.
4 Star Fox. Surprisingly on none of our lists, but
It's the
I can't-
frame rate's
I don't-
abysmal.
I don't like SNES Star Fox. I like
Huh?
Nintendo 64 Star Fox. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't like
SNES Star Fox
Did-
makes me feel like I'm having a stroke.
did you play Star Fox 2 when it came out on the like SNES Classic or whatever?
No.
No, I need to
Yeah.
try
It is
it.
cool. It is cool they released it. I wish they would do it with other. I'm sure they have other things in the vault that they haven't released. I wish they would. Do
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Definitely.
3 Super Mario World. John, I'm actually kind of surprised that's your number 3. I thought that was 2. Which your number 2 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Turtles in Time. I almost said like just in time. Like I said, I played the arcade version. I still gotta play the actual console version. I mean, it's pretty much the same game, but
Mhm.
yeah. And then number 1, Mega Man X. Another one that I gotta play. Not on an iPhone. Also, a message for Tyler for don't forget Skippy in the morning, Skippy in the evening, Skippy anytime. All right, boys, I got a question for you all real quick.
Hit me.
So I'm trying to settle this debate, and it's about peanut butter.
Jif cream
Okay.
is the only option.
Craig?
Chunky peanut butters for chumps.
So, but like, what brand you going with? You going with Jif? You going with Skippy?
I don't really have any loyalty, I don't think, honestly. I mean, I'll
Probably
even get that
peanut butter.
fucking... I'll get the... No, dude, I'll get the Peter Pan peanut butter. I have no loyalty. No loyalty.
Craig's indifferent. Zach says Jif creamy all the way, and I am a Skippy guy. So, all right, I'm glad we got the peanut butter variety settled, even though Zach's wrong. So is the next one Patrick?
No, there's...
Yeah.
that's continued from John still.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because John didn't play. John didn't play RPGs. I know Patrick wrote in, and I don't see Patrick's name here.
I don't
I'm
think
looking
he
at
wrote in
back
for
up.
this.
My favorite SNES game was the Donkey Kong Country. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's Patrick. It seems like it'd be Patrick.
I don't think
Mortal
so.
Kombat and all
I
that?
could double check for you.
Double check.
But,
Think I'm right. Could be
I
wrong.
think the BU means backup, right?
Unless you meant
Yeah.
like, but my favorite SNES
oh, no,
game.
my God. That is him. So I typed in Control BU to highlight, or to, like, bold and underline. And I must have just actually hit BU.
No,
Like
this is Patrick.
I hit it.
All right,
Now
so
it's
then,
Pat Irick. So
Okay,
I had to
so-
type it. I'm changing it.
so Craig, you do Patrick, and then Zach could do Dan, I could do Rob, and then you could end it.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
We got two.
So Patrick said, my favorite SNES game was the game that came packed in when I bought it, Donkey Kong Country. The graphics, gameplay, the music, aquatic ambience is still one of the best game tracks ever. Second would be MK2, the best port of the best MK. I agree with that. That is my favorite Mortal Kombat as well. Then he said, Chrono Trigger is probably third. Is this the game that introduced me to the JRPG scene? Our shared game of shame, Chrono Trigger.
Man, yeah, the Mortal Kombat like trilogy 1, 2, and 3 were so good.
Dude,
I
I
mean,
love it.
I prefer to 3, but and then Patrick, 2 is better, but Donkey Kong Country definitely a great choice.
Goated choice. All right, Zach, why don't you go ahead and read the next one?
All right, from Dan Evil Robot, his favorite Super Nintendo games listed out: Super Mario World, Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario Kart, Contra 3 Alien Wars, The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, Star Fox, Super Star Wars: Return of the Jedi, Final Fantasy 3/6, Chrono Trigger, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, F-Zero, Super Castlevania 4, and his honorable mention is Hagane. How do you say that?
Yeah,
Hagane?
Hagane.
Consider it.
Mhm.
Consider it.
Hagane on Super Famicom. Never owned the original North American version.
Yeah, that's a disgustingly expensive Super Nintendo game.
What does that even play as? Like, I
It's
know
like
nothing about it.
I think
Just know
it's
it's
like a
expensive.
like a side-scrolling kind of action beat 'em up game.
Yeah, man. And then our guy, now I rock a Teller suit, says, "This is Dr. Teller suit,
I thought Craig
specializing
was reading this
in
one. I thought
That's
Craig
fine.
was reading this one.
He could read.
oh, specializing in now I rockology. If we include all regions, my favorite game is Don't Let Go of Them Too. It's a European exclusive that I know Daily Beating has also played, and he can share some thoughts on it if you haven't heard. Also, this reminds me, I want to mod my SNES Mini to add a bunch of games I've never played, like Chrono Trigger and Illusion of God."
Yeah, I've been wanting to do that too because I know it's disgustingly easy to mod these, and I thought it'd be actually what I really want to do is I want to build an arcade cabinet and then hook up a modded Super Nintendo Mini to it. I think that'd be really cool. So that's my long term plan. But modding it in general, easy, quick thing to do that I want to do. What the hell is Don't Let Go of Them Too? Never heard of this.
Don't let go of them two nuts.
Whoa, he got me.
I had a feeling.
He
It
got
was
me.
that's why I just didn't say nothing. I was like, no,
Man,
this
he
is
got
gotta
That's
be
why, I
what he
wanted
said.
Craig to, that's why I wanted Craig to read it.
Oh,
He fucking got me, guys. That's
you still got him.
I'm upset. I got live on the show.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh man,
That's really funny.
He
I
messaged
hate
me
you
like a
guys.
week ago. He's like,
Craig was
"I'm
like,
setting
"What
this
the
up."
hell?"
He's like, here's what's gonna happen. Craig's gonna read it. And I'm gonna set you up with a slam dunk. I was like, excellent, thank you.
I love that this was planned out. That is so funny.
Damn.
What a baller.
Yeah,
I'm
Okay,
glad it still
well,
worked out.
yeah.
that's funny. I'm kind of sad that we didn't get to actually hear your favorite Super Nintendo games, but I'll take it.
A European exclusive.
Dude, he totally got me. I believed it. I thought this was a real game. I was like, oh, that's
It's a-
weird.
A
Strange
PAL
title.
game, yeah. Yeah.
Those fucking weird Europeans. I would have believed any title you threw at me.
That's so good.
Their fake ass English accent. I don't believe it.
Oh,
Well, that's the write-ins for Super Nintendo games, you jerks.
man.
So now it's time for us to go over the top 10 Super Nintendo games of all time.
Oh, we actually made just 10?
Because I took off one, yeah. Otherwise it would have been
Oh.
11. But you know what? I stand by my choice.
Ten-
In the mo-
I was
It
10
felt
plus
right.
an honorable mention. 10 plus an honorable mention.
An honorable mention to Final Fantasy IV because it got knocked off the list. I also want to shout out real quick. If you guys have any honorable mentions, of course, you could bring them up as well. I want to give a shout out to Clock Tower, which we talked about in the last episode. It's one of
Yeah.
those games where the more I sit on it, the more I'm like, man, what a fucking cool game. I really, really enjoyed Clock Tower. I still need to buy the
you
PS5
never ran
version.
into Scissor Man.
I know, it's so funny that happened to me. But I do want to get I want to buy the PS5 version so I could get all the trophies for getting all the endings. Such a cool game. Definitely play it if you have an interest in retro horror. Do you guys have any honorable mentions you want to shout out?
Yes, I was gonna. My honorable mentions. I had 2.5, 3.5 of them. DKC 1 and 2, which I already mentioned. Earthbound already mentioned. And then Mario Picross. I love the
Oh,
Picross games,
okay.
but I got into them on the Switch. So I've been playing like all the. I've been playing a lot of Picross on the Switch, and then when they put Mario Picross on NSO, I went back and played it. It's kind of clunky, but it's the same basic concept, so it's still a lot of fun.
Cool. Tyler, any
One
honorable
honorable
mentions?
mention. One I'll say is Super Mario RPG. I did only play the remake,
yeah.
but I mean, it was a Super Nintendo game, so I got to give it credit there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that didn't make anyone's list, actually, now that you bring that
I
up.
only played
It
the
almost
remake.
made mine.
So.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So number 10, Super R-Type. Number
At least it's
9,
there.
which is tied with number 10. They both have 1 point. Yoshi's Island. Number 8, with 2 points, F-Zero. Number 7 with 3 points, Fire Emblem 4. Number 6 with 4 points, Final Fantasy 6. Number 5 with 5 points, A Link to the Past. Number 4 tied, Earthbound with 5 points. Number 3, Super Metroid with 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Donkey Kong Country 2 with 7 points. So that would have been lower if not for my change in my list. And number 1, Super Mario World with 11 points. So that is
posting these lists somewhere, like to get yelled at. Like put them
Yo,
on Reddit.
put it on Reddit Game Collect. Or just
like,
Reddit.
oh, what a basic ass bitch list.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny because every time we do this, you know, the number 1 game is always kind of random because of us all like having it somewhere in the middle of our list. It always ends up climbing to the top. I think the only one that's been, I think the only one that's that's the only one that's been number 1 so far. That was somebody's number 1 because it was mine, but which I stand by. Definitely still the best GameCube game. So that's your definitive top 10 list of Super Nintendo games. Again, we're sorry for no Chrono Trigger. We'll have to come back to this one day and adjust properly after these fools also play
episode one day.
Once these fools play Final Fantasy 6 and Earthbound as well, it definitely, I think, would shake up the list. Those would be higher, too.
Yep.
But that was a good list. I enjoyed our time together. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm looking at it right now, and 4 of the 10 games I have not played. So, gives me some ideas of some backlog games to try to trek back and get to as well. No Fire Emblem, no F-Zero, no Yoshi's Island, no Super R-Type. So, and I think, is Super R-Type on the Nintendo Switch Online? I was gonna say, I think all 3 of these games are easily accessible. So,
yeah, I think you can play Fire Emblem 4 in Japanese on the Japanese NSO.
There you go. Just live Google Translate with my phone.
Yeah.
That sounds like hell.
Hold it up, just okay.
All right, boys. How are we feeling about that list? Do you think this is accurate? You think this is good?
Good list. Good list.
Yeah. It's pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate. Yeah. Very accurate.
All right, boys. Well, next episode is going to be our fighting game episode where we just talk about old fighting games that we love. Until then, I guess if you all want to say goodbye, any closing thoughts, any closing words? Mr. Zach?
Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, it means a lot. Leave some comments in the comment section. I want to hear everyone's Super Nintendo favorites.
Or make fun of our list, too. So
make fun of our list and say something weird down there. I don't want Super Mario World and Metroid and Zelda like I said. I want something weird.
Yeah, give us the hidden gems that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Don't be basic bitches like us. Get creative.
Yeah, exactly.
Tyler, any closing thoughts? Want to say goodbye to the people?
So, goodbye to the people. And while you're down there writing in your favorite Super Nintendo games, also, Skippy Peanut Butter or Jif Peanut Butter, gotta know. And then bonus points if you tell me your favorite moment in the movie E.T. Just saying. That's all the luscious slut gotta say.
All right, boys. So yes, and then of course, after our favorite our fighting game episode is going to be Persona 3, so that's going to get posted on 12/9. We'll probably record the day before that, 12/7 or 12/8. So you guys have about 3-ish weeks to play this very long game if you haven't started it. Either way, I hope you guys look forward to that and enjoy it. When we do that one, we'll definitely cut it into spoiler and not spoiler territory because that game is so story heavy. But I'm really looking forward to talking about that. So yeah, write in the description below some of your favorite retro fighting games. Thank you all for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share it with your coworker, share it with your friends, share it with your grandma. I'm sure they'll all love it. And we will see you all in 2 weeks. Goodbye.
Adios.
Take care.